shattered trust. Now your empire turns to dust. Rotting in the sun. You fooled us all, but now you'll fall. Your shame's the loudest truth of all. Your words were chains, your smile a blade. The damage done will never fade. The crowd that once called out your name now spits it back in ash and flame. I see the cracks beneath your skin, the darkness you've been drowning in. Your kingdom's gone, the walls collapse, the world won't let you crawl back. I can't believe what you've become. A shadow riding in the sun. You fooled us all, but now you'll fall. Your shame's the loudest truth of I can't believe what you've become. A shadow rotting in the sun. You fooled us all, but now you'll fall. Your shame's the loudest truth of all.
Hey, it's your pal Grumps. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to stream today, but here I am. Because the reason why I'm streaming, because I've been thinking about, people who report on VTuber quote unquote news or VTuber drama, similar to what I do. This Mujin, I think it's what you say his name. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. Put out a video where everybody was talking about it on Twitter. And typically when I see something like that on Twitter, I don't really respond to it because I don't typically watch the video. It's just one of those things like, hey, maybe it wouldn't be a good idea that I spend 5 hours just watching a video and get annoyed. So I was thinking, if I am going to do something like that, I might as well lead off with a little bit of an editorial. As you see, we're in the newsroom, and I'm standing on the desk shouting at the clouds. These quote unquote news people in the VTuber sphere, or any sphere really, don't really report news. And that's kind of the truth. They don't, they don't just present facts. No, they just like, it's all more along the lines what we used to call an editorial. It's all opinions. They're not really interested in the facts. They're interested in strengthening their opinion about any given thing, really. And in turn, you don't really get the story. You don't get the facts. You get their opinions. Well, I haven't watched this video. It's 5 hours long. I mean, dude, come on. I mean, it's coming from the guy who, when he went through the documents, he went through the documents. He didn't, no AI was involved. No skipping really involved until we got to the point where we're going over the same DMs again. And I just skipped those DMs because we seen them twice, and no point really in covering the same thing again because we knew what it said. But when people went over this 1,000-page document, there's a lot of them that didn't really go over the 1,000-page document. We have numerous reporters, and I'm using that term loosely, that admit they didn't really read it or cover everything. They just kind of cherry picked what they want. And I'm kind of curious to see if that is true with this guy, Mujin. Mujin? Well, whatever his name is. And like I said, I haven't watched it. And I don't know how much of this I'm going to watch. It depends on how annoyed I get. But I kind of, part of me kind of hopes that he doesn't do the whole opinion thing. Because if you just want to voice your opinion about Sinder, go ahead and do that. Don't act like you're going to cover the document fairly. In other words, leave your bias at the door and be an actual, well, lack of a better way to put it, a truth seeker, seeking out the truth. And if you can't do that, then don't report on the story. Because if you can't leave your bias at the door, then you're not reporting facts, you're reporting your opinion. And that's about as helpful as being hit in the head with a frying pan, really, because it's the same effect. It's just, why? Don't call it that you're doing a what do you say, deep dive in this, because I seriously doubt that he really did a deep dive into this, a deep dive into a cancel VTubers unprecedented response, the 1,000-page Sinder files. Don't ask me what. We got a fucking thing of the Lords of the Rings, but I can't comprehend. Well, I'll tell you what, when we get to the bow section, JJ, we'll talk about it, okay? But let's see what this is all about. I am not really 100% looking, like I said, this is 5 hours. All right, let's go ahead and start playing this. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. And actually, I am going to speed this up to 1.5. So it's depending on how it sounds, I may keep it there or I may slow it down. All right, let's go ahead.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy was written by the author J.R.R. Tolkien. It is one of the best-selling books of all time, selling over 150 million copies. If you want to read the entire trilogy, then it's around 1,000 pages. And considering that it's one of, if not the best written fantasy world ever created, then hey, it's...
What does this have to fucking do with anything? Is it a commentary because she released 1,000 pages? There's a lot of shit she had to get through. A lot of context that she had to bring forward. What's the point of this, really? This doesn't mean anything. Like, this is not starting off good, I'll be telling you that much.
It's actually a small price to pay. This means that for 1,000 pages, you could either choose to immerse yourself in one of the best written fantasy worlds of all time.
By the way, I don't like The Lords of the Rings. I think it's most people who love it are pompous. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread. But it's like The Stand is over 1,000 pages. I think it's actually thicker than The Lords of the Ring, and I read The Stand. But that's fiction. That's nonfiction. What the fuck are you talking about here? Can you just get onto your coverage, please?
Or read a 1,000-page Google Doc about VTuber drama. I wish I was kidding. 1,000 pages, all dedicated purely to VTuber drama. How do you even get here? What even got us to this point? Well, it's only one of the biggest incidents in VTubing history. You see, Sinder was one of the biggest and most successful independent English-speaking...
I don't agree with that statement. I think VShojo is a much bigger thing. Now, can you say this is the biggest thing that happened to a single VTuber? Maybe. But the biggest thing that happened to the VTubers? No, I think VShojo is much larger. A lot worse things happen with VShojo as compared to Sinder, which is a big fucking nothing burger.
VTubers in the world. Now look, some people will argue with me. She didn't have tens of thousands of concurrent viewers and she didn't have 1 million followers, but her community was so ridiculously loyal and held so much influence that she truly was starting to reach lengths that only other legendary VTubers had attained. For example, in the first 4 months of 2024, she had made over $65,000 just in bit donations on Twitch. This ranked her as the 5th most donated to Twitch streamer on the platform, right behind other streamers like Queso and Jinxie. She was the top VTuber on that list. In January 2025, she became a partial owner of the company Gamersubs. This is an extremely big deal, and it's only been achieved by one other VTuber, which was Shy Lily. I mean, she even had an article written about her back in 2023 with the title, "Sinder banked on VTubing success and the investment is paying off." She'd only been a VTuber for a few years, but she was already reaching lengths no one could have ever dreamed of. In other words, the sky was the limit. And one of the reasons for that incredible success was, of course, her design and the art style associated with it. The artist behind that model would be none other than Nanolus, otherwise referred...
Disagree. I disagree. Yeah, did the model help? Yes. Yeah, I don't know. People are sick of me making this. I just joined once. Oh, we're doing a reaction to Mujin coverage of the document. Just see if he's going to be fair or does he have a bias. So, because we already know how the other coverage went with all the others. I haven't watched it, so we're going to find out if he has a bias or not. And like I said, I haven't watched this. So, but getting back to this. Does the model get people in the door? Yes. Does the model have to be made by Nanolus? No. No. I'm not going to credit Nanolus for Cinder's success. It was the talent that did that. Nanolus just made the pretty picture. That's it. And quite frankly, it's not fucking unique. What I mean by not unique, I'm saying there's tons of artists that are as talented or more talented than Nanolus, that they could have designed that model and have the same effect as the success that Sinder had. It gets people through the door. It don't keep them there. It's the talent that keeps them there. I'm sorry. But let's go on. Oh, we'll find out, Element. I know he's from Mythic.
She'd be Cinder's artist from the very beginning and would work on every single model of hers. Both of them benefited greatly from their working relationship. On April 18th, 2025, Nano would post the most recent model she had made for Cinder. It would of course receive a lot of attention, and you'd even see Cinder commenting, "Thank you for another amazing model, Nano." She'd make that comment on April 19th, 2025. And barely 7 days later, with no prior warning and completely out of the blue, Nano would make this tweet saying, "Hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel it is necessary. Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say." Linking a Google Doc with the title, "Terminating."
You know, that's the most stupidest statement in the history of fucking man. You don't want people to send hate to somebody, guess what? Don't fucking release a Google Doc. Don't make a fucking video. It's a fucking stupid statement. In other words, what I'm trying to say, every time I bring this up, that they want you to go send hate to those people. That's what they want, because if they didn't want that, they wouldn't do what they did, which is post a public document or post a public video. In other words, they would handle this shit privately. But hey, who am I? I'm just someone who's very annoyed by that statement, because it's fucking stupid. Elemental, I have a feeling he didn't read the full document. I would be surprised.
My work with Cinder. This would receive over 12 million views. In the document itself, we could see DMs between Nano and Redacted for the most part. The reason why this was a big deal is because Redacted, otherwise known as Red, was Cinder's manager. In these DMs, he would slander other creators, sometimes Cinder's friends. But worst of all, what these DMs showed us was the fact that Red tried to actively sabotage and black.
Did he? Did he actually slander anybody in Nano's document? I mean, he may have worded some things badly, but he pointed out their behavior. I don't, and most people involved admit that to that behavior. So how that can be slander? What's the next thing here?
Other VTubers from being able to work with Nano. And again, some of the people affected were some of Cinder's closest friends.
Okay, right off the bat. One, even with the Nanos document, there was nothing in Nanos' document saying, other than that, what we're doing the exclusivity, which he was in. You know, if you're going to be exclusive and you want to say, hey, you can work with us, we're the priority, and you can work with everybody else, but this person, we don't want you to work with. That's an exclusivity deal. That's, you're setting conditions. And quite frankly, even in Analysis document, she asked what the conditions were. And also in, like, I think it was in Bow's document, showed that Nals agreed to it. Okay. Once again, having a fucking analyst model doesn't mean your career's fucking over. They're making way too much about this.
After this document would be posted, every top VTuber in the industry would leave a comment in support. And just as people were attempting to wrap their head around,
I didn't. There's numerous top VTubers that didn't leave a comment. They are far more well known than the ones listed there. In there. Yeah, I'm talking about corporate VTubers. Now, if you have corporate VTubers coming out and posting comments, I would say yeah. But you don't. You got some large independent VTubers. Not saying they're not talented, not saying they don't have a massive audience or anything like that, but I think he's exaggerating, really.
around this, barely 6 minutes later, Bao the Whale, one of the pioneers of independent English VTubing, and someone who is practically friends with everyone in this space, would also make a tweet.
Is she? Is she? Is she? I'm beginning to wonder about that. I am. I mean, some of the things she has said lately has kind of turned people off. You know, it's like, if you're going to say something, you need to be clear and direct, which is a fucking problem with VTubers, especially on Twitter, on X. They don't want to be clear and direct. The only time they're fucking partially clear and direct if they drop a fucking Google Doc. But other than that, you know, it's like haha tee hee type shit. But no, that's fine. I do haha tee hee type shit too. But as far as wanting to make a commentary message, they have a tendency to tiptoe around the subject, word it badly, and quite frankly, spread misinformation. So, and Val has been constantly, over the last week or two, shooting herself in the fucking foot. First, it was her comment about large and successful male content creators. And then it was about artists. I'm like, man, you're just alienating everybody.
Tweet saying I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend, referring to Sinder and linking her own Google Doc. And worst of all, we'd see that due to conversations between Red and Nano, Nano would eventually decide to cancel the model she was working on for Bao. Bao at some point would vent about this in her friend's group chat in which Sinder was a part.
That was Nano's decision. Well, we'll get into it.
Part of, everyone would support her except Sinder. And Sinder knew very well that her model was canceled, and she also...
Now, that isn't exactly true. Okay, no, I'm going to say that's basically a bold-faced fucking lie. But we'll get into it when we get there. If we get into it.
I was very excited for it. This further pushed the narrative that Sinder was a backstabber who never took her friends seriously. You can see the immense support Bao received here and how everyone in the space is her friend by all the replies on her tweet, wishing her well. Less than 20 minutes later, Bao's own music video editor would also post his own account of how he was treated by Red in DMs, and you see another VTuber by the name of Spite also make her own document, saying that for years she's been harassed by Cinder's community for being seen as a cheap copy, that Sinder wouldn't acknowledge her and would even actively try to blacklist her, even though she literally started streaming before Cinder's career even began. And finally, Silverville.
That's another fucking lie. Or, I'm not going to say lie. A mistake. Cinder started streaming before Spike did. To use a PNG. So that's incorrect. That's a mistake on his part. Maybe he'll correct it later in the video. We'll see.
Another VTuber who could be considered pioneer of independent English VTubing would also make her own document on Sinder, telling us how Sinder was obsessed with her for years, trying to be her friend, even though Silver had expressed that she wasn't interested, and worst of all, how...
Maybe he's just going over what they're saying. Okay, let's go ahead.
As her model was being cancelled due to discussions between Red and Nano, Sinder would be messaging her, congratulating her on achievements, yet again pushing the narrative that she is a two-faced backstabber. As this was all happening, the pressure was mounting very hard on Sinder. This is when she'd make a tweet saying that effective immediately, Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry everyone, I will make a larger response when I'm able. Now look, most of these DMs did have Red, but Nano would specify in her document that based on working with Red and Sinder over the years, she's sure that they speak for each other and that there's no reason to believe that Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Regardless though, people thought this was a step in the right direction until Vampeaches, another VTuber, would reveal that 4 years ago, Sinder had referred to Red as her boyfriend. This was not revealed by anyone else writing these documents, even though they fully knew this. But for the broader VTuber community, this was the first time they were hearing about it. It backfired on Sinder tremendously. And what made it so much worse is that this post got community noted, saying that Red acted with Cinder's knowledge and consent, both of which directly engaged in libel towards other creators. And as people thought this couldn't get worse, as they were still grappling with the fact that Red is Cinder's boyfriend and this was revealed for the first time, some dude Rain randomly comes in, posts a Google document, and reveals to us that Cinder had cheated with him on Red, showing us old DMs from her
They flirted through text messages. If you want to call that cheating, fine. My standard of cheating is a little bit different. That requires two people getting naked, getting underneath the sheets, and bumping uglies. All right? But whatever.
Previous persona. Yeah, as someone who was watching all of this unfold live, I could tell you right now, I have never seen such chaos unfold in such a short amount of time. At this point, the pressure could not have been crazier. Everyone was waiting for a proper statement from Cinder, and it would only be a day later, on the 27th of April, that she would post a Google Doc with the title, My Apology. It would be clearly written in a rush during panic, and it was very bad, making the situation way worse, but don't take my
I disagree with that. I don't think it was a bad apology. I just don't think it was an apology where people wanted, which is basically her, kissing people's feet, take me out to the central square, whip me, beat me, hit me until y'all feel better about me being a bad friend. Torture me, torture me, torture me. I am so sorry. Please keep hitting me, hit me, hit me. Do forgive me. I'm a piece of shit. That's what they wanted. They didn't get that. They got someone that took full accountability. What more do you want? Let's get the wood out and let's crucify her.
My word for it, some of Cinder's closest, most loyal friends would express this themselves. Yoklesh, who has known Cinder for a long time and worked with her as an artist, would say, I'm so disappointed. You have known Red since your college days and have a long-term relationship. How can you think it's okay to just put all the blame on him and pretend you didn't know what he was saying or doing as your manager? I don't believe this.
Like these people know what their fucking relationship was like. Seriously.
Was saying this in reference to the fact that most of Cinder's apology appeared to be her throwing Red under the bus, saying that she was not aware of the majority.
There's a thing called personal accountability. Now, you could be married and your spouse does something. Are you responsible for their actions, or are they responsible for their own actions? Yes, Red was Cinder's manager. That does not mean, and he admits this, which hopefully he covers, which I don't think he's going to, that Red admits that he did a lot of shit without Cinder's knowledge. So, what is, and this whole quote unquote, they know everything about each other, they're one being, is such fucking bullshit.
Of things he was doing. Lena would express the same thing, saying this is someone you supposedly loved and worked close with as a team for years. I can't imagine for the sake of an online image throwing someone away so effortlessly, claiming you didn't know what they were doing. There's just no way. You had everything. You had a massively supportive community, a group of girls who stuck by you. You're a partial owner of a company. People would die to be where you're at, and you actively sabotage the people closest to you as well as creators that had nothing to do with you. And of course, one can't mention the replies on this post without mentioning Shy Lilies, garnering over 8 million views and over 150,000 likes, in which she calls out Cinder very aggressively, highlighting the same points we saw with Yoklesh and Lena.
He's in full-blown rage mode. That's beyond aggressive. Anyway.
While also calling for her accountability. Look, it was safe to say that after this apology, it was over. People would go as far as burning their own Cinder merch, and would of course start making memes of the entire situation. The fallout would be immense and unprecedented. She'd lose over 50,000 followers on Twitch, and would lose tens of thousands.
No, there's people who have lost way more than 50,000 subscribers and followers. A lot more. I can think maybe Part Software, Boogie 2998, iDubbbz. If you want to look in the VTubing world, let me think. I know there was one that lost 100,000 subscribers overnight, within a week. Who was that? It was like 2 or 3 years ago in the VTubing world. It was like 100,000 followers on Twitch or something like that. I don't remember because I wasn't really paying attention to VTuber drama back then. But it's not unprecedented. That's what I'm getting at. This is an exaggeration.
Thousands of followers on her Twitter. She would go completely radio silent, and her name would become a painful reminder as to what could happen when you let fame and numbers get to you while completely disregarding the people who care about you. This is how things would be for 5 months. But that, of course, would be until Cinder would come back with no prior announcement on October 8th and post this tweet, saying, the burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused. They lied to you. Here's 1,000 pages of proof linking a Google Doc. And yes, just like I said, unfortunately, it's real. It's actually 1,000 pages.
Why is it unfortunate? She's not allowed to defend herself? I don't understand that statement. Why is it unfortunate? She had literally 12 people go after her. 12! And she's not allowed to respond to each person? Really? That's oh, how dare she? This is from the guy that read that whole fucking thing on stream. Was I happy about? No. But I understand the reason why. He had 12 people go after her. 12 individuals banded together to go after her publicly. And everybody acts like she doesn't have a right to respond to those individuals. Makes no fucking sense. Oh, it's okay if they all attack her, but God forbid if she defended herself to everybody. All right. Makes no fucking sense.
99.99% of people did not bother reading the whole thing, and honestly, I don't blame them. There are many people who sought to understand what the hell's in this document through summaries, TLDRs, and honestly, nothing can truly tell you unless you go through it yourself. You have to see the small details, the wording used, the way things were written, presented. And seeing that I've already made a video on what happened back in April of 2025, I figured that it's my responsibility to make a video about this response. Purely because I hate myself, but also because no one else would. And again, I don't blame them. So make sure to have a seat.
I did. I get, what, 10-hour streams about that, 3 or 4 of them, going through every word of this fucking document. No offense, but no offense to Sinder, but I went through every fucking word streaming it. I think, other than when we did repeats of DMs, I didn't really cut anything out. And this was posted 3 days ago. This is what? October 8th. This is almost 3 weeks. Almost a month. It's, yeah, about 3 weeks. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, there's been multiple people who read this shit online. That they start, like the next day, they start doing streams covering every single word in this document. No AI, no AI, no putting through voice or anything like that. They literally sat there and read it word for word on stream. Jesus. Like, he's the only one that ever fucking read the Google Doc. Okay, whatever.
Because this is going to be my longest video ever made, where I present to you this document in the most objective way possible.
You're a lightweight at 5 hours. Talk to a guy who has like 33 hours covering this Google Doc. You're a fucking lightweight. This is no, I do mean covering the Google Doc, me sitting there reading it. Okay, go ahead.
So without further ado, let's do this. But first, a sponsor I'm sure you'll find interesting. I love anime. I'm sure you do too. Problem is, if you want to play a game that's
Can we just get to the Google Doc, please?
effort like this in the state I was in without just blindly accepting fault for all the things I didn't do or never knew happened. I rushed to get something out, defend myself the best I could in the heat of the moment, and post it just so I could rest. No matter what I would end up saying, it would never have been good enough. It took me a long time to mentally recover and have the ability to face any of this again. I couldn't look at anything Cinder related without breaking down. All of my fans that looked up to me were led to believe I was evil and encouraged to destroy or donate my merch. Almost everyone I knew or cared about turned on me in an instant, and anyone who's ever had anything to say about me did. I had only one of my close friends message me after everything was out there. I received rape, dox, and death threats over these accusations, so I stepped away from the internet. I reconnected with Red, and we worked things out between ourselves. When we were both ready to, he helped me with the long process of making this document. I didn't say almost anything else to anyone sooner, privately or publicly, because no one would believe me until I had absolutely everything put together to post all at once in one place. So yeah, already one hell of a way to start the 1,000-page novel, right? Next up, we'd have a subsection called Purpose of this document, with 5 different bullet points. The first one would say, to present the full story and the facts and evidence around what happened with complete transparency, defend myself against what's been said about me, and provide mine and Red's perspectives and motivations about each situation. It wasn't my choice to make this public, but since it is, my side of the story matters too. The second point would be to take accountability for everything that each of us are guilty of in the past couple of years, whether they were revealed in the original documents or not. This document will not absolve either of us of all wrongdoing, and it isn't trying to. Point 3 would say, dispel rumors, misconceptions, and theories about me, show how and why things actually occurred, and point out and refute discrepancies and lies in the claims or statements made against me. We've done things wrong, but the amount and degree of them has been incredibly exaggerated or completely made up. Point 4 would say, this document contains speculation. Baseless accusations were made against me without evidence, so I've kept speculation labeled as such in this document. Most of it is supported by circumstantial evidence, but it should not be treated as solid fact. So just so you know, since I actually read the document, most of this speculation would be in the 8th section of the document, titled The Breakdown. There would also be some in Silvervale's section. Objectively speaking, when you say speculation with someone who has such a loyal audience like Sinder, the one thing that comes to mind is how dangerous that is. But anyway, we'll get to that later. The 5th point would say, this document.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Cinder was not the only one that did speculation. Everybody involved in this did speculation. They speculated about why her behavior. They speculated about her and Red's relationship. Everybody did it. It's just not Cinder. You're acting like Cinder was the only one that did it. Makes... Well, how can you make a statement acting like Cinder is the only one that did something like that when it's out there? If you put your biases aside, it's out. You can say Shiloh speculated, Silvervale speculated, Bao speculated, Natalis, who had all the fucking facts, speculated also. In other words, the other term for speculation I'm trying to get at is manipulation. To various degrees, everybody tried to manipulate each other, which is a common practice in content creation. I just did a collab with GVP and Loboto on Halloween. Did I manipulate them into doing a collab? Sort of. Know how, hey, you want to do a collab? It'd be really, really fun. That's the manipulation. Okay, if you can look at that as manipulation. Me just asking them and giving them a reason why. You can also say it's speculation. I'm speculating that's going to be really, really fun. It was really, really fun, by the way. But it's a speculation. No. And Cinder was not the only one that did it. All right? If you're honest and you leave your bias at the door, you have to say that everybody involved in this did some form of manipulation, or if you prefer, speculating. Technically, no. He did go through the forward of it. It's just I got this like on going faster than normal because it's 5 hours.
Document is not to fuel harassment or spread hate towards anyone involved. I am doing what's listed above and posting this document.
Once again, I don't care if it's Cinder who said it. That's the most stupidest statement in the history of man. Fucking hate that statement. It's not to fuel harassment. I know why she had to release a document. I know why she had to do this. Okay, I get it. They did it to her. It's her response. So be it. I prefer not to ever seen her. Don't harass or spread or send hate to the people involved. You want to know why? Because you can't control another person's actions. If we really, really don't want that, you would not release a document or release a video. It's just a fucking stupid thing to say. I'm sorry.
The same public setting the original documents were. If you have harassed anyone involved in my defense, you are not my supporter. Your actions are reprehensible, and I've never advocated for anyone to do this for any reason. I'm sorry to anyone who's been affected by any actions of Rogue community members against my principles. So these 5 reasons outline her purpose, and she does make it a point at the end to tell her community members, do not harass anyone, and if you did, you're not a part of my community. That's always an important thing to add when you're a content creator with a community. Cinder then says, I have been made out to be a two-faced, greedy, jealous, psychopathic narcissist who's maliciously used, stalked, sabotaged, and betrayed those closest to me and anyone around me for my own gain for years, manipulating my way to the top like some kind of evil mastermind. You were lied to. There are things I've done wrong, but this image of me could not be further from reality. This was a complete public assassination of my character over what were lies and assumptions, followed by my cancellation and disappearance, with my accusers profiting from it. If I was really the awful person I was made out to be, then this document wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have any way to refute the claims made against me. I could have just continued streaming and profited from the drama and the over 30 million views this situation garnered. I could let everyone forget about this and come back like nothing ever happened, but it's not true, and I couldn't allow myself to move on without making things right. Everything that's come out and stories that followed have been blown way out of proportion and turned into crazy conspiracies. Both Red and I have done nothing wrong, and all of that will be addressed here, but the story everyone was told was not the reality.
What did he say there? Let's go back. Let's go back.
Possibly believe me again. To show that I stand by everything.
That's the. I guess we gotta go back.
Those closest to me and anyone around me for my own gain for years, manipulating my way to the top like some kind of evil mastermind. You were lied to. There are things I've done wrong, but this image of me could not be further from reality. This was a complete public assassination of my character over what were lies and assumptions, followed by my cancellation and disappearance, with my accusers profiting from it. If I was really the awful person I was made out to be, then this document wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have any way to refute the claims made against me. I could have just continued streaming and profited from the drama and the over 30 million views this situation garnered. I could let everyone forget about this and come back like nothing ever happened, but it's not true, and I couldn't allow myself to move on without making things right. Everything that's come out and stories that followed have been blown way out of proportion and turned into crazy conspiracies. Both Red and I have done nothing wrong, and all of that will be.
That's not what it says. Both Red and I have done wrong. It doesn't say both Red and I have done nothing wrong. Because that's what he said. At least that's what I heard. Okay, let me fix the speed here. I want to make sure I'm hearing him correctly. All right.
Single interaction with them would have to have been fake for the story told about me to be true. I believe that there were two people responsible for how things played out, with a third person merely having an making things right. Everything that's come out and stories that followed have been blown way out of proportion and turned into crazy conspiracies. Both Red and I have done nothing wrong.
Did you hear that? It's back at normal speed, by the way.
This document will not absolve either of us, with my accusers profiting from it. If I was really orchestrated things behind the scenes, those closest to me and anyone around me for my own gain for years, manipulating my way to the top like some kind of evil mastermind. You were lied to. There are things I've done wrong, but this image of me could not be further from reality. This was a complete public assassination of my character over what were lies and assumptions, followed by my cancellation and disappearance, with my accusers profiting from it. If I was really the awful person I was made out to be, then
this is the last time I'm replaying this part, by the way.
Any way to refute the claims made against me. I could have just continued streaming and profited from the drama and the over 30 million views this situation garnered. I could have let everyone forget about this and come back like nothing ever happened, but it's not true, and I couldn't allow myself to move on without making things right. Everything that's come out and stories that followed have been blown way out of proportion and turned into crazy conspiracies. Both Red and I have done nothing wrong, and all of that.
Can this dude not fucking read? Can this guy not fucking read? Both Red and I have done wrong. Where is nothing? It's no, the worst part is everybody can fucking see it. He purposely misread this. Okay, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He's too fucking stupid to read it right. He has a reading comprehension problem. Maybe he's fucking dyslexic. I don't know. But it doesn't say both Red and I have done nothing wrong. It says both Red and I have done wrong. This just tells me how the rest of this fucking video is going to go. Jesus Christ. So basically, I am listening to a fucking slop tuber. Someone who doesn't care about getting the facts right. He just wants to make it spicy for people. That's what he wants to do.
Will be addressed here, but the story everyone was told was not the reality of what happened. Every single person I've interacted with in the past almost 5 years, even those closest to me, and every single interaction with them would have to have been fake. For the
oh, by the way, dude, if you ever watched this, maybe you should go back and edit that or put like a little disclaimer here saying I read that wrong because I'm a fucking moron. All right.
the story told about me to be true. I believe that there were 2 people responsible for how things played out, with a 3rd person merely having an axe to grind against someone they never liked. Nanolith lied overwhelmingly about what happened between her and Red, sat back, and played everyone, including my friends. Shylily lied about me from the start, orchestrated things behind the scenes, and manipulated the public to their side. Silverveil took the opportunity to lie all about our interactions together, making things even worse for me. They had the most to gain from my cancellation, including their own satisfaction. None of them could take accountability for their own actions and pushed it all onto me instead. The only 2 people that could disprove their lies were just made into lying manipulators and wiped off the internet. She's of course referring to herself and Red. Aside from the labeled speculation, everything presented in this document is true to the best of my knowledge. I have nothing to hide, and there isn't a reason to hide anything anymore. The bulk of what's shown here was over the past 2.
By the way, what he didn't show you was these keys, where like things like this is speculation. This yellow part is speculation. If you actually look at the Google Doc, they put keys in there to set one, like if Red was talking, there's a key for that. If it's speculation, there's a key for that. So to kind of clarify to certain statements where, hey, I'm speculating here. This is not facts.
Plus years. Keep in mind that no matter who you are, opinions, thoughts, and feelings can change a lot over such a long period of time, for better or worse. I went back and forth on a lot of things to put in here, asking myself if I should just leave them out for the people I still care for, or keep them in for my own sake. No matter what evidence is included in this document, it wouldn't be surprising if it's claimed that even with all of the evidence, all of this is just me trying to lie, manipulate, and gaslight my way out of what happened, and that no one should possibly believe me again. To show that I stand by everything written here, and that I'm sorry for the things I've done wrong, I made a very hard decision. I'm giving up my part ownership position of Gamersubs. I've worked so hard for them since December of 2022, and earning this position was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. I'm honored they chose to give me the opportunity, and I've been immensely proud to have the title. As sad as I am to do this, I feel the need to protect the company I love, the people that work there, and everyone associated over my own interests. Gamersubs suffered a lot of damage when all the accusations were made about me, and that fell on my shoulders. This is my responsibility as part owner, and I don't want any more harm or negativity to come to them by having this position. I didn't have to do this, and I wasn't asked, forced, or coerced into making this decision. There are things more important to me than business. I notified them of my decision in June, and it will take effect at the same time this document is published. Each tab in this document is about the people and events related to the claims made against me, where I've provided links to each person's respective statements for reference, the evidence, context, and mine and Red's thoughts around each situation. You're intended to read each section in the order they're presented. This document should be viewed in desktop and light mode for the formatting to appear correctly. Some information and screenshots appear in multiple sections for whoever it's relevant to. The first few sections, being Nanolist, Bao, Vcard, and Numi's concert, and Shylily, culminate in a section breaking down what you've seen throughout them, with the last few sections of this document being standalone. Unless stated otherwise, every link in this document is working at the time this is posted. This document will not be edited after it's posted either. Because we live in 2025, I need to say that this document was written without the use of AI. I understand some of the things in this document may be damaging to the people involved. They understood that their claims would be damaging to me before they publicly made them too. Everyone can review the evidence for themselves and decide what really happened, and if I really am the person you will let to believe me to be. The burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused. So yeah, one hell of a thing to start things off, and already we have some pretty hefty accusations, with Sinder blaming Shylily, Nanolith, and Silverveil of going after her on purpose. Later in the document, you'll get to make up your own opinion after seeing the proof that she provides.
They accused her. What do you want to say? Just leave it at some people? I mean, come on. What do you want her to do? This isn't kicking it. It's turning a horse into a zombie and riding into bat. Dude, this was published 3 days ago. And this is the first time I'm watching it. I really haven't watched the other people. I just want to see if someone's going to be fair about it. Because I know the other ones weren't going to be fair about it, because most of them are 10-minute fucking videos. This is a 5-hour fucking video, which I'm probably not going to watch all of. I'm getting the 12 gauge. I'm getting the Tylenol. Oh, if I'm pregnant, I better not take Tylenol. All right, but
The next section in this document is titled Redacted, in which she speaks about, well, her partner. Before we get into that, though, I have some pretty important disclaimers, starting with the first one. Some people, even after reading this first section, already had doubts. For example, with Sinder saying she didn't use AI, saying there's no way you could possibly write 1,000 pages yourself. That's crazy. Well, after having read these pages myself, I can tell you right now, no AI was used. In fact, there's one specific typo in which Red forgets to finish a sentence that you'll find halfway through the video that completely caught me off guard, and I left it in the video, so you'll get to actually see my confusion. Another thing that people doubted from the moment this document was posted was Sinder saying this document will not be edited after it's posted either. The reason why people started having doubts shortly after this was posted was because not even an hour afterwards, some sections would start to be missing pages. So I took the time to research it. On my browser, the Nanolist document would be sitting at around 173 pages. Some people would claim that Nano's section used to be 230 pages. Others would say that it was 210. So where did all these pages go? Why is there so much confusion? Well, thanks to a viewer of mine by the name of Derek, I was able to get my hands on an archived link of the document when it was first uploaded. It takes way too long to load the sections on the top left, but I can't really blame it since it's 1,000 pages. In the Nano section from the archived document, we could see that the page count is actually different. It was actually off by many pages. So I sat down, put on my detective hat, and compared every word, every single subsection and image included, and And my conclusion is that it was the same exact document, word for word. I tried to do this with other sections too. Nothing had changed. So what gives? Well, it seems like it has to do with both your aspect ratio on your monitor and your resolution. At a 16:9 aspect ratio on a 4K resolution, this document of nanos is 184 pages. If I were to make my browser go from horizontal to vertical, the page count all of a sudden becomes 116. Yeah, it's that stupid. So this simply means that the page count's different on the archived version because the person who archived its monitor showed that page count in particular based on the resolution and aspect ratio. So yeah, fairly important disclaimer because I've seen quite a few people throw this accusation around. As far as I can tell, it is false. Cinder truly didn't use AI and truly didn't change anything in the document since...
Well, that's... No, I'm impressed. He debunked some of these accusations. Maybe he is actually going to be fair, you know? Other than the fact that he maybe misspoke about that one sentence that kind of like going, whoa. But I am impressed. He debunked the AI and editing theories that are out there. No, only the authors can edit it, clankers. I mean, but what happens if you change the aspect ratio on how you look at it, it changes the page count. That's all. It doesn't edit it. It just changes the page count because, no, it changes the sizes of the page. That's it. He's from Mythic Talent. What do you... Well, it doesn't matter if they're in Mythic Talent. It's your reputation, okay? There's people in Mythic Talent that don't have a very good reputation as it is, so it doesn't matter if they're with Mythic or not. I'm not sure, but bruh. All right.
Publishing it. The third important disclaimer, and I promise I'm almost done here, is the fact that this document took a very long time to make, and Cinder indirectly showed us proof of that. On page 205 of the 8th section titled The Breakdown, Cinder would be talking to us about something that happened in Cinder's lore video that she made for her May 2025 debut. Now, Cinder would link an image of the video's thumbnail where we can clearly see it was uploaded 3 weeks ago. The video was uploaded on August 2nd, 2025, and Cinder had posted her Google Doc on October 8th, 2025. This means that we can confirm without any speculation that Cinder had worked on her document for at least 5 whole weeks. But honestly, I think it was way longer. That's because in this document, you wouldn't just have many different screenshots of DMs from very different timelines. You'd also have sections in which Cinder would go through past VODs of the people she's talking about, would link the exact VOD at the exact timestamp, would transcribe exactly what was said in that VOD, and would make a comment on it. This goes on for pages upon pages upon pages. All this is to say that this document took an incredibly long amount of time. If I had to guess, more than 3 months or around that time. It is an incredible effort to an almost worrying degree. And a final disclaimer I have to tell you as we head into the second section titled Redacted is the fact that, well, barely 5 months ago, the public was made aware that both Cinder and Red are together, but under the pretense that they're girlfriend and boyfriend. The reality, though, is that they're married as husband and wife. Now, I know this might come.
What? What? Where did that come from? That's news to me. Where the fuck did that come from? He said Red and Cinder are married. Last I heard, they were just, a couple, boyfriend, girlfriend type thing. Just, where did fucking marriage come from? Who said that? I know it wasn't Cinder or Red. Who the fuck said that? Wow. Wow. Oh, God. Just out left fucking field. Just, whoa. Jesus Christ. Oh, I didn't think I was going to laugh in this video, but apparently I'm going to have a few laughs in this. People are bringing up Shadow Lamb and dinner with Danny Clancy. That happened in 2020. I don't care about that. Red flag number 2. The source is I made it the fuck up. Okay, let's continue on
It
here.
was a shock. Mujin, why would you reveal something like this? Isn't it private? Well, it actually used to be. It's just that someone unintentionally revealed that. And that was shortly after this document came out. Around a week after posting the document, Sinder would say, "Hi, Pyropups. I'll be streaming tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST. I hope to see you there." There'll be over 1,400 replies. Some of them very supportive, some of them not so much. Now, one of the people leaving a very supportive comment is none other than Shonda, a very well-known English VTuber. In her reply, she'd say, "Cinder, I think everyone deserves a second chance, and everyone deserves the opportunity to learn from their mistakes and grow. I hope that your time away has helped you. I really hope that you found a better state of mind, both for your sake and your husband's, but most importantly, for the Pyropups. And I wish you nothing."
That's his source. I'll tweet. No offense to Shondo. How the fuck would she know? Did she have pictures of the wedding or something? Or maybe, just maybe, off the top of my head, she's fucking wrong. Has Cinder or Redacted come out and said they're married? Because until they do, I won't fucking believe it. Just, God, this is, Jesus. This is, what he's going with. Oh my God. No offense to Shondo. No offense at all. But maybe he just made a mistake. Don't take that as truth. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Oh, people will believe fucking anything, I swear. Yeah. So that's where you got the what? Yeah. That's like no one's ever badly worded a tweet before. No one has made a badly worded tweet recently. That's oh. Okay, let's move on. That's the master sleuth here.
But the best. All right, so overall, very wholesome, but I don't think Shondo knew that this was not public info. This was only known by some of Cinder's closest friends, which are now not her friends anymore. But I don't think
Even people that were her closest. This is 5 months. This is 5 months after the fucking document. If her and Red were married for a year, do you think Bao wouldn't have said something by now? Don't you think Shy Lily wouldn't have said something by now? Don't you think Natalis would have said something by now? I mean, come on. You think Newbie would have said something by now? I mean, come on. You have one person mistyping husband. That's a proof of nothing. Has Red or Cinder come out and said they were married? No. No. At least I'm not aware of it. People in my chat aren't aware of it. And maybe you should stop pretending you're Sherlock Holmes.
Kondo did this intentionally at all. If anything, I'd be very surprised if she did. She meant well with this comment. Now, of course, I'm sure some of you watching will think to yourselves, maybe it was a mistake. But think about this. Take a step back. If you know two people are together, but you're unsure of their relationship status, you'd say, oh, they're partners. Or hey, they're in a relationship. You would never, and I mean never, refer to a couple as husband and wife unless you were 100% sure that was the case. Because why would you just say they're partners or in a relationship?
It's gonna be a fucking mistake. He's reading way too much into this. This is like comedy gold here. It's just... oh. I don't get why he's hung up on this, really. I was just so fucking dumb. It is. Oh, okay. Let's go
So
on.
yeah, overall, very interesting revelation. Unfortunate that it was unintentional, but it is what it is, right? The cat's out of the bag. This is definitely an important discussion
No, it
to keep in
isn't.
mind as we go through this section because they're not
The only thing that's out of the bag here is you believe fucking anything on Twitter. That's the only thing that's out of the bag. I saw a bear jump through a bathroom window chasing a deer while a guy was sitting on a toilet and taking a shit and just bounced around all over the place, and the toilet was bouncing like a fucking rubber ball. Is that fucking real? I bet he thinks it is. Apparently, he hasn't been on Twitter for very long. Okay, let's continue
just
on.
boyfriend, girlfriend. They can't just break up on a whim, right? They're committed to each other until death does them part. This means that not only Red was in a
Jesus
relationship with
Christ.
her, not only was he her manager, but he's pretty much the person she committed to until the rest of her life. Does that make this section better? Does it make it worse? Up to you to decide. But for now,
I'm divorced. Dude, seriously. You're making way too big of a deal of this. It's not even fucking true. Just- it's just so fucking dumb. Just so dumb. If they are married, because I don't think they are. It's none of our fucking business. At the end of the day, it's none of our fucking. And say, hello, I'm Red. I'm Cinder's longtime partner. Why does it? Okay, Red, why are you hiding that you're married? Why don't you say I'm Cinder's longtime husband? Dum dum dum. He thinks he's got a gotcha moment. He doesn't have shit.
let's get to reading it. Cinder would say, Red helped me put this entire document together. We want to be upfront and honest that this was a two-person effort. His own commentary is present throughout it and is labeled as his and highlighted in blue. Red would then chime in and say, hello, I'm Red. I'm Cinder's longtime partner and have worked alongside her since she started this career. I helped her put the
Don't you mean husband? Why am I making a big deal out of this? It tells me how well he's going to cover this document. That's why I'm making a big deal out of it.
this document together to set the record straight. Over the past few months, I've had to come to terms with being the reason why Cinder's image, her relationships, and her career were all ruined. I heard people who were our friends, I effed up, and she had to answer to the world for it by herself. My actions ruined everything for her, and I'm taking responsibility and helping her pick up the pieces. I didn't want to put out something sooner. Without her, that could have made things worse. See, like this sentence right here, if ChatGPT wrote this, at least it would have added a comma, right? But as you can see, this is written by a person. He then ends this by saying, I ask that you don't hold what I did against her. Cinder would then take us on the subsection titled Red and I. She would start this off by
Okay. Well, thanks for clearing that up. But, why didn't he say husband? Yeah, I'm not gonna let that one go. That's just so fucking funny.
saying Red and I are still together. Obviously, since otherwise it would have been a divorce. We had a falling out and spent time apart after
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please don't do that when I'm smoking a cigarette. You're gonna kill me. I got ashes all over the place. Just give me a second. I need to clean up a little bit. He really wants to have that gotcha moment so bad. Oh, I found out they're married. Just so dumb. Just so dumb. Oh, hey, you know what? I got this car. It drives really good. It has one wheel, one door, and half a seat. I'll sell it to you for 300,000.
On April 26th, but he was still here for me when I was ready to talk to him again. We were able to work things out between us and forgive each other for what happened. I wasn't planning to say anything about this again publicly, but I felt I needed to. Years ago, I cheated on Red Online for my own self.
What? Also, the video audio from Mojang is cutting in and out. Is it? Is it better? Hey, Thunderbolt. My microphone's cutting in or out. Well, probably because I've been laughing so much. I just let me double check real fast, make sure everything's okay. OBS was giving me a little bit of a hard time earlier. It could be the video audio may be that way because I got it going at 1.5 speed. Because let me know if the audio does it again. I'll double check OBS when it happens again.
Selfish reasons, and the things I said about him were out of my own frustrations and past experiences. Yeah, that's because in Rain's document, the person she cheated on Red with, there wouldn't just be adult conversation, she'd also be talking crap behind Red's back. Yeah, she says, I made things sound much worse than they were at the time and mischaracterized the person he is. Red already knew that this happened way before it was made public in April, and no one else was ever told about it before then either. We addressed both of our problems in our relationship and moved past it a long time ago. It had nothing to do with my career or current events, and isn't relevant to talk about further. We disagree, we get mad at each other, we argue, but our relationship isn't toxic or abusive in any way. I would appreciate it if the speculation around it would stop. Red and I have always had some level of communication problems, even with each other. Neither of us are good communicators beyond surface level. It's hard to open up and we get in our own heads about things. We butt heads and disagree with each other sometimes, and even more so working together all day every day. It's gotten so much better over the years, but it's never been perfect. So the idea that anyone in any relationship would know about and agree with everything their partner feels, says, and does is crazy to me. I'm not the only one who's ever had a significant other keep secrets from them, and neither is Red. Every relationship is different and has its own nuances, dynamics, and problems, functioning in a way that only the two people involved know of and fully understand. No one looking in can say otherwise. Because I cheated on Red, should I assume that everyone's significant other has cheated on them in the past? Should I assume that all my friends' relationships are the same as mine? No. And for me to claim I know exactly how things work between any of them just because I'm their friend that sees them a few times a year is ridiculous. For the love of God, please put more commas in your sentences. Oh my God. She'd continue. When I became Cinder, we wanted.
Please, oh my God, realize that they're not married. Just seriously, please. All right, let's continue on. No, that marriage thing just cracks me up. I'm sorry. It just like it's funny as hell.
Wanted to keep our relationship private. In public, Red was simply my manager, and we had
All
a
right,
relationship with my
thanks.
friends for over a year during multiple trips. We agreed that I'd tell my closest friends about our relationship in March of 2024 because we felt we were close enough and trust them enough to tell them. When we traveled, my friends saw us always close by each other and showing each other our work DMs on our phones, almost all the time from chats we were both in, instead of talking about things out loud to keep up with projects while away and to keep them private between us. It's easier to say, look at this, to keep each other on the same page rather than have a verbal conversation while we were around other people at almost all times while away. What they saw at conventions or on vacations was all they saw. Only Red and I would have any idea how we worked together and acted around each other when at home. I lived with Red and his family from the summer of 2022 to the end of February 2025. I have never outright told anyone this, including my closest friends. We wanted to keep at least part of our personal lives private from everyone, even telling some people we lived apart.
Yeah, that was the one thing that made me mad. Her lying that her and Red didn't live together, because I made a bunch of statements about it, and it just made me look like a fool. And I don't like being made to look like a fool. I'm not saying I need. Quite frankly, Red and Cinder's relationship should have never been brought up. It shouldn't have been a thing to be talked about, to be honest with you. But since it was brought up and people informed me they lived on opposite coasts, the whole how would Cinder know what Red did in chat, did in DMs if they don't live together, so on and so forth. But yeah, that actually did piss me off when I read that. So because it made me look like a fool, made me look foolish. That's the reason why I got angry about it.
On stream, I've always said I lived with family friends and streamed in a basement. The basement part is true. It's where I spent the majority of my time, and it's where I worked and streamed from. My career started there in 2021 with my ASMR. Red was the one with the PC, mic, and experience with content creation since it's always been his hobby. I would go there more and more often until I moved in when I became a full-time streamer. For most of my earliest streams with my PNG model, Red would be in the room with me, modding on a laptop and making sure things would run smoothly. He was there as my tech support since at the time I could barely play games, let alone understand how to use and fix OBS if something went wrong. We built my own PC and stopped needing him by my side by the time I debuted my first model in June 2022. He moved his PC into his own room and has worked from there since. Starting sometime last year, my streams kept disconnecting and we couldn't figure out why. This was going on for months, and no matter what we did, it kept happening. We thought there could be something wrong with the internet there that we couldn't fix, so as a last resort, my parents and I made space for me to move back in with them with my entire stream setup in February. We were able to fix the problem, but it ended up having nothing to do with the internet at all. I've been working and living here since, separate from Red. The reason why I'm revealing all this now is because we could have easily gone through each other's DMs whenever we wanted in those 3 years, but we didn't. It's not like we never showed each other our messages directly. We did, all the time. But we didn't comb through each other's DMs at the end of every day to read anything we may have said. And I don't know anyone who'd say that's normal to do. We could just tell each other things that happened, and that was that. I never felt the need to look over his shoulder to check on anything and everything he was saying and to who. We trusted each other, and he's always had my best interest in mind. The next subsection would be titled Working Together, and from the first paragraph, many people would say how they'd lose hope in this document and would stop reading. That's because Sinder would say, I'm choosing to have Red continue working with me. He will be doing most of what he did for me before, but will not be doing any work-related communication for me in any channels I'm not also a part of. I now have access to his Discord account to check on things myself if I need to. It's clear to me that he learned his own lesson from what happened. He made mistakes, and I forgave him. I wouldn't be where I am without him, and he's just as much a part of Sinder as I am. He wasn't just a manager that handled some messages, and he had a part in a lot of the things I did. He's always been the main creative mind behind my debuts and other releases too. Even with how involved he was, Red is still his own person.
The interesting thing about this, we have since learned that Red is not really going to be doing any work-related communication. She has a management team to kind of handle that, but she will be watching the communications, making sure that things are being done the way she wants them to be done. It would be the same case if Red was the manager. She will be like checking communications, making sure that he's saying the things that she wants him to say. Because, no, she's the boss. She is Cinder. It's her name. It's her identity online. So to protect that, she's going to be more involved in making sure everything is done in a way that she approves of, which wasn't happening before, obviously. I understand that people were a little upset that her and Red are still together. I think I said when I got to that part, that is her choice. She's a grown woman. She doesn't need my approval. She doesn't need anybody's approval to be in a relationship with Red. If that's what she wants to do, that's what she's going to do. Okay, it's not my place to no longer speculate about it, because based on what she said, it's not toxic and all that, it's healthy. Fine, I'll take her word for it. But I don't get why people stop reading right there. It's none of your business at the end of the day. She didn't even have to fucking tell you, to be honest with you. Be honest about that part. Didn't need to be in a document. She didn't have to tell you. Does that change her success rate or anything like that? No. But to stop here, well, and then go around saying this, that, and other thing about Cinder, well, one, you don't know what's in the fucking document, so you don't have a place to say. Oh, she did this to Nanos. No, it's in the fucking document. You can read what the whole conversation. If you still believe after all that, then go back to school and learn reading comprehension. It was Peach's element. Vampire Peaches brought it up that Cinder and Red were boyfriend and girlfriend. To be honest, I'm not going to stick around and watch the video again. I hope you enjoyed your time. Oh, yeah, I'm having a blast. I mean, we learned that Cinder and Red are married now. Oh, yeah. Let's continue on.
with
I'm
his own
probably
ideas, his
not.
own opinions, his own feelings towards people, his own goals, and his own ambitions, working under the same brand as me. He's always been the business sensible one out of us, and the work side of things was always his focus. We worked together on almost everything, but we didn't agree on everything. There have been many business or creative decisions we'd argue back and forth about, sometimes taking days to reach a compromise. Red didn't always consult with me before making his own choices in his messages with our partners. A lot of the time I agreed with what he did or said and it was fine, but sometimes I didn't, and we either compromised or I had him walk back what he said. Red didn't tell me about every single interaction he had with people we worked with, and I didn't expect him to. I trusted him. There was never a reason for him not to tell me something important. That was until we disagreed about one of my friends, Bao. At the start of this year, we moved a lot of our work-related conversations with various artists into a project service so everything could be organized into one place. I could be included in discussions and decision-making where I needed to be, and would be able to see everything being said without having to rely on Red to relay every detail of the things he was handling. This was for our organization, convenience, and so I could interact with every person working with me directly. However, this didn't mean Red didn't still use his DMs to do business or talk to people we were working with. Besides the allegations in Nano's document, no one else we've worked with has ever complained about Red, and we've both worked with dozens of people who I believe would say their experience working with us was nothing but positive. Like I said in my apology, there were things Red didn't tell me about, or hid from me, and did without me knowing in his DMs. They're all shown in this document in the order below. I didn't know about these things beyond what I was told, if I was at all. Those things would be Red's inclusion of Bao and Cotton in his exclusivity deal with Nano in January 2025. Red telling artists
Yeah,
so this was Cinder admitting that all these 15 things did happen. The situation. The main takeaway people had from my apology was that I pushed everything onto Red and didn't take accountability for anything myself. She would then have small different sections with a couple of bullet points each. The first one would be what I blamed Red for in my apology, because he was guilty of doing them. Him telling me how great it would be to work together with Silverveil, and the second point would be him holding a grudge against Bao. So these were the things that Cinder was blaming Red for that he was guilty of. The second section would say what I blamed Red for in my apology when I was also guilty, saying Red was the one with the business-oriented outlook on things from the start. I adopted that same mindset myself from working together as time went on. I wrongly made it sound like I was brainwashed into thinking this way in my apology. The next section would say what Red was guilty of in my apology that I didn't know about until writing it. Red and Nano ever talking about a model for Geary in November 2023. That's another VTuber. Red including Bao and Cotton in his conversation and eventual deal with Nano around
If you don't know, because there's a couple of VTubers going by Geary. They're talking about Onigiri. Okay, if you don't know who Onigiri is, look her up. She's a great talent. She cooks she does a lot of fun stuff. Check her out. I may even do a VTuber highlight on her, probably maybe in a few months here. But yeah.
exclusivity in January 2025 and bad-mouthing Mao in their DMs as if they were our shared feelings. Red talking to Nano about Shy Lily and her model in April of 2025. The next section would say things I said about Red in my apology that I was wrong about. The first thing being he did not manipulate Nano. So Cinder was saying she was wrong thinking that Red manipulated Nano in any way. And the second thing would be he did not push Nano to not work with Silverveil and she was not a constant topic between them. Cinder would then show us another subsection saying things I took accountability for in my apology, listing 15 different things. The first one being agreeing with Red to talk with Nano about exclusivity, agreeing to specifically name Silverveil in the terms and knowing a deal involving her was made. The second one being guilt-tripping Nano. The third one being feeling overly attached to Nano and her work. The fourth one being not knowing about what Red had said about Bao to Nano and I should have. The fifth one being not speaking to Bao about Red's feelings towards her and letting it spiral to the point it did. The sixth one being upset and taking it personally when Bao hired my video editor. The seventh one being upset when Sakamore told us he wouldn't be working with us again. The eighth one being confiding in Red about Shy Lily's behavior towards me. The ninth one being becoming resentful towards Silverveil. The 10th one being letting my insecurities and public comments influence my feelings towards Silverveil. The 11th one being assuming Spite copied me. The 12th one being very possessive of my design details early on in my career.
I love how he's
overreacting to
counting down
my
here.
OC design, which was apologized for in the past. The 14th one being cheating on my boyfriend. The 15th one being neglecting or leaving behind friends of mine. So this was Cinder admitting that all these 15 things did happen and that she took accountability for them in her initial apology back in April 2025.
Yeah, she did.
Continue saying, I admitted to the world that I cheated on my secret boyfriend, and the story pushed was that I took no accountability and used him as a scapegoat. Even with all of these concessions of what I did do, I was still somehow a narcissist who couldn't accept fault. What I did was not admit to the right things the people making these claims already decided I was guilty of. They also expected me to apologize for everything I've ever done without any of it ever being mentioned, even if the matter was already settled in the past. I understand that the things my manager did that
Yeah, I'm trying to
gain
get
greater credibility behind what he was saying. And now here's what Red had.
Okay, hold on.
And my ignorance doesn't change that. I should have taken more care to check up on what he was saying and doing, but I was being blamed publicly for things I had nothing to do with. My accusers went out of their way to claim Cinder did this, Cinder did that, completely disregarding Red's agency from any of his own words and actions. The proof I must have known about everything he's ever said and done was because they said we worked on things together on our phones during the few times a year we were traveling. And Nano's document showed 2 of my screenshots from over a year apart from separate situations where I knew more or less what had happened between her and Red. There was no other evidence presented for their claim, but they told everyone it absolutely had to be this way. Emphasis was placed on Red's usage of we and our as if they could know for a fact that it meant Red was always speaking with my knowledge, approval, and oversight every single time he said it. This was necessary for their narrative to work against me. This is why I said my apology about this. I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao in these DMs either, and him using we and our in this context is abhorrently incorrect and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. And now here's what Red had to say about this. I have always been more or less the creative lead on things we did, like our designs, project ideas, and art in general, and Cinder often agreed with my creative judgment. Amount at this point that I don't even know where to start. I will let this document speak for itself. These actions were not over years like the public was told. 25. Red asked Nano to not work with Spite in January 2023 and told me about it afterwards. I lied about not knowing.
Let's see,
Especially friends. This is a business, it's a job. But keeping the business aspect of things in mind didn't affect the way I saw our friendships with people or the way I treated them. They were my friends too, and we both cared about them, supported them, and helped them out when they needed it. I've always had the backs of the people closest to us. The only people I've ever considered as direct competition in a negative sense were people either we had something against, or they had or did something against us, and were working with artists important to us. By April 2025, this was only Silverveil from how she acted towards Cinder for years. Bao after what I thought she did to us and our other friends in December 2024, but only until sometime after my deal with Nano in January 2025, and potentially soon to be Lily by the way she was treating Cinder and coincidentally getting a model from Nanolist at the same time. It was wrong of me to feel this way, especially towards Bao, now, and I'm sorry. So yeah, there you have it. The final subsection in this section would be 3 personalized apologies to 3 different people. The first one would be Tricky. Yes, the one they mentioned earlier that they had abandoned at a hotel in Japan. I'll just sum this up below. So the reasoning as to why she left out the document was because Nixiu in the document itself would say, I don't want any public reaction to this. I really do not want to appear on videos or similar. I don't want my case being used as an excuse to put more hate into it, etc., which is why I personally didn't include her document in my video about the situation 5 months ago. Sinder would continue. Nixiu, or Iomea AF, is an artist that reached out to me via email about making artwork in exchange for showing it off and giving a shout out to her Patreon on stream. I hadn't seen the email, but she made a tweet laying out her terms, tagging me in it. I messaged her that I was interested. I put her in contact with Red, and he handled things from there. Through Red, we made our agreement. It wasn't until she had a large portion of the sketch finished when I had changed my mind about our agreement and didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know what was going through my head or what my reason was for this, but I told Red to call it off. Red tried to make it seem like there was miscommunication somewhere to save face for me, but it was really because I was being unprofessional. He talked to me and I agreed to follow through with the art showcase and shout out on my stream. However, I failed to follow Nixiu's terms as they were agreed upon. I didn't verbally shout out her Patreon and only showed the link to it that was on her artwork. I also didn't show the censored NSFW version of the art, but that was because I was worried about getting in trouble with Twitch. This was an unprecedented situation I caused with an artist, and I've never done something like this with anyone else. I handled an agreement I made extremely and regrettably unprofessionally. This was way out of character for me, and I'm sorry to Nixiu for how I handled things and for the stress I caused her. I encourage anyone reading this to please support her and her incredible work. And that brings us to the end of this section. We're not even 1% through this document and already many bombshells and interesting information. The next section after this will be over 200 pages and it'll be about Nano. However, we're going to be having a bit of a change of plans. Alright, so here's the deal. As I mentioned, there's 13 different sections in this document, and we just went through the first 3. In the first section, Sinder would say, you're intended to read each section and in the order they're presented. And as much as I'd love to follow her instructions, after having read the whole thing, I can tell you right now that going right into the 4th section titled Nanolist would be a bit counterintuitive. Instead, I'm choosing to head straight into
That's fucking dumb. It's done. The document was set up that way for a reason. Natalis was basically her biggest accuser. Basically, the reason why all this fucking happened. The Bao stuff is a result, an effect, but the cause is Natalis. To start jumping around because you think it's better this way is your biases showing. Because you think it would be more beneficial to your opinion than to stick to how things are presented to you. I mean, you don't go to a trial and they say, oh, we're just going to skip the part where the gun was found someplace else. We'll get back to it later. It's not that important. Just because it's the murder weapon, we're not going to worry about it. Now, that does happen in trials, but they have the right to bring it up. But this is not a fucking trial. This is a document done in such a way that if you go through the order it's presented, you have a greater understanding to the sections afterwards. Because you don't like how it's put together, because it affects your opinion in a certain way. It's not right. You do it the way that it's presented to you. Okay, that's reporting. What you're doing now is being, hey, I want to make my opinion stronger. That's what you're doing. Yeah. So he's going to jump to the Bao. Okay. Now, the shit that came out with Bao recently, a lot of power pups have defended Bao. I have defended Bao. I mean, I say she's a victim in all of this because I feel she was manipulated particularly by Natalis. Okay. Natalis, if he would have done the Natalis section, would didn't particularly want to work with Bao. But because he didn't want to cover the analysis section prior to Bao's, you're not going to know that when he goes through Bao's. See, he's supporting his opinion. He's not interested in the facts as they are presented. Okay.
Bao section, which is the 5th section. Why? Well, there's multiple reasons for this. One could argue that the most important sections in this entire document are Silverveil section, Nanolist section, and Bao section. However, in Nanolist's section, you're mostly seeing things from Red's perspective, with Sinder chiming in every now and then. When it comes to Silverveil section, it's mostly Sinder talking about her perspective.
You're also getting the crux of the DMs that point to her being a manipulative bitch and backstabbing her friends and all this other bullshit, which relates to the Bao section, which relates to the Silverveil section, and how Natalis reacts to it. That's why the document was put together the way it was. So when you go into the sections, you're fully aware of Natalie's opinions on these people. She didn't want particularly want to work with Bao. She wanted to keep working with Silverveil.
Perspective, with Red chiming in every now and then. When it comes to Bao's section, not only is it significantly shorter than both Silverveil's and Nanolis, but there are many repetitions. There are many things in Bao's document that will repeat in those other two sections. Additionally, you get to see this from the perspective of both Red and Sinder, with both of them having differing perspectives and even logic. Finally, when it comes to Bao, her reputation precedes her. Before this controversy, most people didn't really know much about Nano other than the fact that she's a very talented artist. When it came to Silverveil, yes, she's been here for a long time, but for the most part, she keeps to herself. She doesn't really collaborate that much and is a fairly private person. When it comes to Bao, though, not only has she been here since the beginning of the VTubing boom in the West, but she is quite literally friends with everyone. Yes, she has her own friend group, but she's someone who interacts with large and very small creators. Like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. She has interacted with hundreds of people throughout the years and has never had a problem. She has never been involved in petty drama. She's never had a Google Doc written about her, which is, I mean, saying a lot in the space where petty drama happens every minute. All this to say that I believe that this might be one of, if not the most important section in this entire...
Well, we're keeping over the fact that she got scanned by her manager, scanned by artists, has become very jaded. You just like just skipping over a lot of context here. When you're talking about Bao, you got to take everything into context to set up her mental state, to understand why she reacted the way she did, to kind of get in her headspace a little bit, to to be blunt about it, to sympathize with her. Okay, you're leaving all of that out, which is, well, good for you, but in all reality, if you leave all that out and read Bao's section, it doesn't make Bao look too good, to be honest with you. Grumpy, so far Munja has 3 red flags on his... Yeah. So Cinder, Numi, Tricky, and the others, Mujin, that collabed with Small and Big Feature. I'll be honest, but I don't know about that. Because I'm fairly new. No, I've only been... I've been, like, checking out the indie scene for about 4 months. So I don't really know the extent of these friend groups and stuff like that. So I know there's always like particular ones that always constantly collab with each other, but other than that, that's about as much as I know. To be honest with you, put it this way: I knew about Bao, and I knew about Shy Lily. I didn't know about Numi. I'll be honest, I didn't really know anything about Cinder either. I was aware of Bao and Shy Lily. Goes Womp Womp and Bao. I've seen a few clips of Bao, and first time I saw a clip of Bao, I was like, did Shy Lily change her model? Because it's a Bao the whale, and Shy Lily is a fucking orca or orcat, whatever. And I just it confused me. So anyway.
Entire document. It gives you a broad understanding about Cinder's logic and perspective, Red's logic and perspective, and does a lot to explain how we got here. Most people might have read the first 3 sections before giving up on the 4th one, seeing that Nanolis is 186 pages, and unfortunately miss out on this section that's extremely important. So that's why I chose to go with this immediately. So
it's because people are fucking stupid. You read it in order because it makes sense. It makes better sense and better context as you go through the document. To jump around like you're doing. Well, if you were reading Lord of the Rings, you don't start at chapter 1, then go to chapter 200. Just because you just want to skip the middle part. I don't know if there's chapter 200 in Lord of the Rings. I don't really give a shit either.
Without further ado, let's see how Cinder chooses to introduce us to this section. Here's what she had to say. Bao has always been a great friend to me, and I couldn't own up to being a terrible friend to her when I wrote my apology. I've neglected Bao, the same as a lot of and tried repeatedly to sabotage her, even doing his best to sabotage her friendship with his wife. What comes next is something that would happen on the 30th.
He's sticking with this marriage thing. I swear. They ain't fucking married, dude. Unless Red and Cinder comes out and says they're married, you can't say they're married. You don't take third party information because they don't fucking know. But tell them to post a wedding picture. Jesus Christ.
September 2023. Red would ask Cinder's video editor about working with them exclusively. This would happen 2 weeks after they cancel it. Nano suggested she may get it done sooner than June. A few months would pass by, and all of a sudden, we're at WeebCon 2024, more specifically at the end of March.
Okay.
Encourage her to do this and would offer to help since he's the brains behind Cinder. For example, Nano would say, what would make a small community get people's eyes? And Red would say, like, you mean what it takes for a small VTuber to get lots of
I think I remember that Numi, Cinder, Tricky, and others were possibly collabing with big and small creators that I think Mujin was. I mean, if it's true, great. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. In my Twitter post, I think I posted this morning or yesterday. I don't really remember. I said, based on my view count, I'm a small creator. Okay, I got much. I think it's along the lines. I got much influence as a 2-day-old baby. But I have reached out to much larger content creators. See, no, to just have a conversation. Sometimes let's have a conversation about. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I just want to get to know you better. That type of thing. And I don't think that's love bombing. That's like actual, give me some advice or help me out here. Help me grow or whatever. Help me understand the content creator sphere a little bit better. Nobody replied. All right. And it's like numbers do matter. I think at the time I only had like not even 100 subscribers when I did it. And no, I get it. Numbers do matter. I mean, maybe they would react if I had 5,000 subscribers. I don't know. I don't know what the fucking magic number it is for people to react to you. Someone that has like hundreds of thousands of subscribers or followers on Twitch, I don't know. But it's... And for people to say numbers don't matter, they're fucking lying. It does matter. Because some of the people that sit there and said numbers don't matter, I've reached out to, and they never respond to me. Okay? How many cells have we lost? 500. Well, I don't plan on making this like a 5-hour stream, by the way. That's the reason why I'm jumping around so much.
Eyes on them? That's kind of my specialty. I did that. Later in this conversation, after talking for a while about her brand and what she wishes to do in VTubing, Nano would say, honestly, I would cancel my next models if I didn't feel already so committed to them. This is when Red would start to inquire more about what she's currently working on and how many models she's worked on that haven't debuted yet. Nano would say there's like 4 models. One of them is meant to debut around October. Red would specifically ask, is that Bao too? To which Nano would say, didn't start Bao yet. Red would talk about this in the document, saying, I asked about Bao being one of the finished models that hadn't debuted yet because I was under the impression Bao was already done. Nano told me her model wasn't even started. Me saying to her, we'll find a new mama for being busy was a joke, like earlier in the conversation when I joked about firing her. Now look, this was a fairly long conversation that would stretch into the 26th of July, but that would be when Nano would ask Red, do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel with her? To which he'd reply, no, but she'd guilt trip you 100%. But if that's best for you, then I think you should. Nano would admit, I'm very guiltyable, to which Redacted would say, I mean, the sooner you don't have model work, you can work on your own debut and stream stuff. And Cinder and I can help you out. So I'm not telling you to cancel her model, but it sounds like that'd be best for what you want to do. Nano says, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Red says, is Bao the last of the 3 you still have to do? To which Nano replies with, yep, got blank too, which I'm considering canceling too. In the document, Red would describe this as, out of nowhere, Nano asked me, do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel with her? She was already considering canceling it on her own. This was a huge difference from how she felt about Bao's model last November, linking the message in which Nano said, oh yeah, I really want to work with Bao. Red would continue his explanation, saying that he told Nano to do what was best for her, and that he and Cinder would gladly help with her streaming. He then add, from his own experience with Bao, he thought she could be whiny and pushy when things didn't go her way, so he thought she'd complain and guilt trip Nano. His logic was that he was being honest with his friend about another friend, but that he never asked her to cancel Bao's model or any other model. His argument would be that this wasn't targeted towards Bao. He would have done this no matter who the model belonged to, and that at the end of the day, he was closer to Nano than he was to Bao, so he was supporting her and wanted to do everything he could to help. According to him, this context was never shown in Nano or Bao's documents that came out in April 2025. Around a week later, Red would DM Nano and ask her if she decided to cancel any model projects like they had already talked about. Nano would say she hadn't canceled anything yet, and then saying, actually, give me another moment. 6 hours later, Red would reply to that message saying, did you check on this yet? To which Nano would say, they're replying right now, just give me another moment. 20 minutes later would be when Red would send the infamous message, did you cancel models? To which Nano
Hold on. He's not actually going through the DMs. He's not reading the DMs to people. He is taking bits and pieces out of it to help support his narrative. Okay, I literally read every fucking word. Now I may not have read them out loud, but people could tell I actually read the DMs to get the full context of what was going on. Okay, he's trying to make it sound like Red is manipulating Bao. That's what he's trying to do. A lot of things that were in those DMs show how much they were trying to accommodate Nano. Okay, this is why Nano's part is important to be read first before you jump into Bao, because there are a lot of things in there in those DMs where Red was trying to accommodate Nano. You could almost say Nano was manipulating Red. Nano wanted the gossip. Nano wanted the tea. Nano wanted the exclusivity. He's not reading the DMs. He's just picking out parts here.
Would reply with, I did not, with a crying emoji. Red would explain that it was in all caps because of the previous messages sent and the fact that he still hadn't heard anything from her about it. She said she didn't, and he said Nano arc delayed to 2026 in regards to what she wanted to do, right? Becoming a VTuber and stuff, joking with her like he always had. This is when Nano would say, I'm scared to cancel with Bao. And unlike the other conversations we've seen so far where Red would be taking more of a back seat, letting Nano do her thing, here, he would encourage her to do this, saying, you shouldn't be. She has so many connections, she'll find someone super fast. Did you already design the outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeepCon. Nano would say, yes, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift, and Red would say, don't sell yourself short. I think she'd be fine with taking the design and finding someone else. I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price, if she starts shit, lol. Now look, the drama was 5 months ago, but if you remember it slightly, you'd remember that this was one of the main messages in Bao's document. This made Red look really, really bad, because it didn't just sound like he was telling Nano to cancel Bao's model, he was also talking shit about her. He was also kind of making it harder for her, right? Her model was already being canceled, Nano wanted to make it up to her, and Red was still insisting, no, don't even give it for free. Give it for half price if she starts shit. From Red's perspective, this is what he would write in the document. He'd say, I was not the one to bring up Bao again. I didn't specify anyone we had previously talked about. I reassured Nano about it and told her I thought she should at least be somewhat paid for the design she made and the work she put into it. My thought that Bao could possibly start shit over this was the same as
Okay, once again, this is why reading Nano's part of the document is important to do before you read the rest of the document, because you get far more context in the relationship that Nano had with Red. Does what he just did make Red look bad? Yes, because you don't have the full context of how they always interact. Because in Nano's section, there is 2 years, almost 2 years of DMs in there explaining showing their relationship. How they always joked around with each other and all this stuff. He is trying to make it out like Red manipulated her knowingly. Was there some little manipulation by Red? Yes, but guess what? There was some manipulation by Nano's too. I'm sorry. You are not showing the full context here. You're just trying to make the people you don't like look bad. That's all you're fucking doing. And it's unfair. Well, didn't you know, Grumps, Nano doesn't matter because she's not a streamer. Everybody wants the juicy beef with other big VTubers. True. I mean, that's one way to grow and get big numbers. Hey, that's the reason why I'm doing a react to them. I'm joking. I'm joking. A little. Are these people commissioning thousands of dollars in art without a proper... I think there is a contract, if I remember correctly, from Nanolo's commission list, like $10,000 for a model. Then if you want toggles, there's more money. If you want an NDA, there's $1,000. The NDA is basically for her not to show it on stream type thing. I mean, but there is some kind of contract involved as far as if you're going to pay $10,000 for something, you better have a fucking contract. Even if it's just something in DMs. Yeah. Don't even watch the video because the comments are all about. Yeah. Look at this. It's just ridiculous.
I said before, where I thought she'd complain or guilt trip Nano over it. All of the lead up to this conversation was left out of Nano's and Bao's documents. And yeah, to be fair to Red, that was the case. The full context, the previous conversations were not included. In the grand scheme of things, though, does that truly make a difference? Well, I'll let you, the viewer, decide, because we...
Yes! more context you have, the better the understanding of the relationship. Duh. Oh, Jesus Christ. I wish I had alcohol. I really do. I wish I had like some whiskey right now, because maybe this would be a little bit more cohesive if I'm drunk. Okay.
We still have a lot to go through. 45 minutes after what we just saw, Nano would say that she would be able to start on Cinder's Angel model right away. Earlier in the DM, she had mentioned that she could only start on it maybe in October, but at this point we were still in August 2024, to which Red was very excited about. 2 minutes later, Red would message Cinder saying Nano's able to start the Angel model right after the summer fixes and dances, to which Cinder would say, yay. From Cinder's perspective, Red would tell her that the reason why Nano canceled Bao's model was because she wanted to focus on her own VTubing career. He'd also specify that he and Cinder were going to help her out in that career. Cinder would say that she felt bad.
Which is true if you read the DMs. This is not a false statement. Okay, Nano says she wanted to start doing her own thing, but this is why I hate the fact that he jumped and left that Nanolis, because Nanolis wanted to be a streamer. She wanted. That's where my theory, my speculation, if you will, is that Nanolis wanted to get out from Cinder's shadow. All right, because she wanted to be a big ass streamer just like Cinder. All right.
For Bao because she saw how excited she was when she showed them her concept back at WeebCon. But at the same time, she was under the impression that this was what Nano wanted. She was her friend too, and she wasn't going to pressure her to do something she didn't want to do. She didn't see Red's messages and only knew what he told her. Red would also chime in and say, if I really wanted Nano to cancel Bao's model for some malicious reason and knew I could make her do it through some kind of manipulation, why would I have waited 8 months after I first found out about it in November of 2023 and told Nano she shouldn't? Why did I wait 4 months after WeebCon in March 2024 when Bao showed it to us? Why? When I thought Bao's model was already finished in June, like she told me was planned for, would I have gone out of my way to make Nano cancel it now? Although I was closer with Nano, Bao was still a friend and I didn't have any problems with her back then. My opinion of how she could respond to Nano canceling on her doesn't change that. Nano has worked with multiple friends of ours in the past and it wasn't a problem, including Bao in this situation. I was supporting what Nano expressed to me she wanted to do for herself, and as her friend I reassured her it would be okay. The next day, Red would message Nano and ask her.
You didn't read the rest of that.
He'd argue that the reason why he was asking about this was because Nano had expressed she was scared to talk to Bao, so being her friend, he wanted to ask how it went. In the document he'd say, if Bao's design was done and the model wasn't even started, like Nano told me it wasn't, then I didn't think it was a problem if Bao could just take the design to another model artist. Hypothetically, I thought there still would have been time to hit her planned Valentine's Day debut window Nano told me about. In the DMs, to reassure Nano, he'd say she won't hate you forever, just for the next few days, but if she still has the design, I don't think it's a big deal. Nano would say, okay, it's sent. Red would reply with, I'm here for emotional support, to which Nano would reply with, thank you, it hurts my soul. Red would say, the whole situation was wrong of both of us. Nano shouldn't have asked me about what she wanted to do with her other commissions, and I shouldn't have weighed in on what I thought. I'm sorry to Bao for my actions and that this happened at all. Cinder would continue and say, it was after this when Bao messaged our group chat with our friend saying that Nano dropped her as a client. I felt guilty knowing about this before Bao had told us. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I was the one who was known to always work with Nano, but if this was her decision, I didn't want to get involved. I should have been a better friend to Bao and at least tried doing something for her, but I didn't. Alright, so picture this. I think this is like a group of friends of like 6 people. Imagine revealing such sad news, right? Like Bao was completely heartbroken over this. Everyone would leave a supportive message except one person in the group, and that person happens to be the one who has worked with Nano the longest. Not a good look, right? Cinder would continue after I posted my apology on the 27th of April 2025 as she was being
Cinder was put in a difficult position. All right. Maybe this Mujin fella, don't know anything about him. This is actually the first time I'm watching any of his videos. Has never been caught between two friends. If you support one friend, you're going to be betraying the other friend. So sometimes instead of making a situation worse, maybe you should just keep your fucking mouth shut. Man, a lot of people should just do that every once in a while. Just keep your fucking mouth shut. Because you jumping in there or adding anything into it can make it worse. Because if, let's put it this way, that's it. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you can find another artist. Because, no, why would stop Bao from saying, hey, you know, Nels, can you find out why she dropped me? Grant, she still could have done that. Don't, for all I know, schedule is too hectic. She gave him reason. All right. And remember, at the end of the day, it was Nalis's decision. She didn't. What can Red do to her? Really? What, lose Cinder as a client? it's not like she was hurt for clients, obviously. But I think she dropped like 7 models, like 3 Iron Mouse models, who was a much larger VTuber than Sinder, by the way. Just being honest here. It was as soon as I saw that list of all those models that she dropped, that told me she wanted to be exclusive with Sinder because she liked working with Sinder. I don't know what caused that to change, but that's kind of how I interpret it. Because no, there was if I'm trying at least 2 Iron Mouse models, who's an extremely large VTuber, who would have said, "Now let's design my model to a much larger audience than Sinder." All right, if that's what she really wanted to do, she could have done that, but she didn't. She wanted to work with Sinder. She wanted to be exclusive to Sinder. So she was dropping clients left and right. That, in fact, she took on too much work because she doesn't know how to manage her time. Besides, you're getting your final thoughts on 5-hour video. So no, drinking only water, juice, or soda free. Hands off the cigar. Oh, man. I don't smoke cigars. I don't like cigars. All right, let's get back into this.
Been canceled. Bao tweeted this, talking about her model being canceled last August. It was a standalone tweet, not as a reply to my apology, and not quoting it either. If you follow the drama, I'm sure you saw this tweet, and Sinder actually took a screenshot of it barely after it was posted, back when it was still at 7,000 views. It would be Bao saying, how? How can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly canceling my model after we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging. And to now find out that just a day before her sadness, Nano and Red would be talking about it as if it was nothing? That gutted her. She'd say, if you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. In the document, Sinder would say, I was aware that in this instance, Bao's model was...
Then you should have not blocked her. Jesus Christ. If you want an apology to apologize to me, you should have done it right. Then don't block her. Seriously, not everybody wants to make their apologies public. You know? Maybe they want to make a private apology. Try to work things out and try to get to a point where you can still be friends. But fuck that. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm waiting for him to bring up that Sinder and Red are married again, because that's always good for a laugh.
Was canceled, and before she said anything, I haven't claimed otherwise anywhere, and I didn't say anything about it in my apology. I was not aware of Red giving Bao's name to Nano in his exclusivity negotiations in January 2025. This is what she would say in her apology that she wrote back in April. After Bao had posted this tweet, she messaged one friend that could get a message to her since she had already unfriended her and she had no way of contacting her. She'd say, Red and I had a falling out the night the documents dropped, and we didn't live together anymore either, so I had no way to access his DMs myself to go back and see everything he was saying and doing to make sure it was right. All I had to go off of was what Red told me in August about this, what was posted in Nano and Bao's documents, and now Bao's tweet after my apology. I don't know if she ever got this message, and she never reached out to talk. I told this friend I didn't know the model was canceled because of Red's conversation with Nano, and not that I didn't know it was canceled at all. This message would be sent on the same day. Sinder would say, I just saw Bao's tweet. I have no way of contacting her, so if you could please have her reached out for us to talk, it would mean a lot. I didn't know her model was canceled due to Red's conversation with Nano. I know it's hard to believe I wasn't informed on every conversation he was having, but he had a lot of control over comms without constant approval because I trusted him. We don't live together for me to make sure everything he was doing was right. I'm so sorry to you and all the girls. The friend would say that they were going to ask her. In fact, the same friend would message Sinder asking if she was okay, and Sinder would say, I'm sorry, blank. I'm trying to collect myself. Red and I aren't speaking right now, and I'm so upset with everything. Sinder would then go ahead and refute some aspects of Bao's tweet. She said we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging, and Nano would say in her document that Red asked her to cancel Bao's model mid-progress. Sinder would argue that that's false. Nano hadn't started yet, and she said that in DMs in July of 2024, when it should have been done by June 2024. Additionally, Bao's document would say there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not Nano had the physical and mental capacity to continue her model. Sinder would say this lines up with what Nano told to Red, and how Nano repeatedly overbooked herself but was never shown anywhere. She would also remind us that Red didn't message Nano specifically to see if she canceled Bao, but to see if she canceled any other.
Now, if you read the Nanoist part before the Bao part, this will make a lot more sense. Just say. You get a lot more context. But apparently this guy doesn't want you to have context. He wants you to be all jumbled up.
Models. So as you can see, Sinder definitely does disagree with some aspects of what Nano and Bao had said, including some of the most fundamental aspects. It seemed although Sinder realized that what she did and what Red did was wrong, she still wasn't as wrong as Nano and Bao had claimed. In any case, a few days later, on the 9th of August 2024, one of Sinder's editors would decide to step down. This would
What? What did he just... That... Oh, what?
You say you didn't know. I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly canceling my model after we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging. And to now find out that just a day before her sadness, Nano and Red would be talking about it as if it was nothing, that gutted her. She'd say, if you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. In the document, Cinder would say, I was aware that in this instance, Bao's model was canceled. And before she said anything, I haven't claimed otherwise anywhere. And I didn't say anything about it in my apology. I was not aware of Red giving Bao's name to Nano in his exclusivity negotiations in January 2025. This is what she would say in her apology that she wrote back in April. After Bao had posted this tweet, she messaged one friend that could get a message to her since she had already unfriended.
Okay, we skipped this whole part. I guess we don't need to. We don't need to know what this says. Apparently, we don't need to know what this says. Yeah, let's just skip this whole fucking part. What? That's. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement and had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton be included in this list. If I know my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. There, Mujin, I read it for you. Did that help you a little bit? Maybe that there's someone that actually can read the whole fucking thing.
Friended her and she had no way of contacting her. She'd say, Red and I had a falling out the night the documents dropped, and we didn't live together anymore either, so I had no way to access his DMs myself to go back and see everything he was saying and doing to make sure it was right. All I had to go off of was what Red told me in August about this, what was posted in Nano and Bao's documents, and now Bao's tweet after my apology. I don't know if she ever got this message and she never reached out to talk. I told this friend I didn't know the model was canceled because of Red's conversation with Nano, and not that I didn't know it was canceled at all. This message would be sent on the same day. Cinder would say, I just saw Bao's tweet, I have no way of contacting her, so if you could please have her reached out for us to talk, it would mean a lot. I didn't know her model was canceled due to Red's conversation with Nano. I know it's hard to believe I wasn't informed on every conversation he was having, but he had a lot of control over comms without constant approval because I trusted him. We don't live together for me to make sure everything he was doing was right. I'm so sorry to you and all the girls. The friend would say that they were going to ask her. In fact, the same friend would message Cinder asking message would be sent on the same day. Cinder would say, I just saw Bao's tweet, I have no way of contacting her, so if you could please have her reached out for us to talk, it would mean a lot. I didn't know her model was canceled due to Red's conversation with Nano. I know it's hard to believe I wasn't informed on every conversation he was having, but he had a lot of control over comms without constant approval because I trusted him. We don't live together for me to make sure everything he was doing was right. I'm so sorry to
Yeah, we don't live together for me to make sure he was doing. Right there, he says we don't live together. It's kind of hard to be fucking married at that point, isn't it? This was back in April 2025. He just kind of just wolfed over that one.
you and all the girls. The friend would say that they were going to ask her. In fact, the same friend would message Cinder asking if she was okay, and Cinder would say, I'm sorry, blank, I'm trying to collect myself. Red and I aren't speaking right now, and I'm so upset with everything. Cinder would then go ahead and refute some aspects of Bao's tweet. She said we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging, and Nano would say in her document that Red asked her to cancel Bao's model mid-progress. Cinder would argue that that's false. Nano hadn't started yet, and she said that in DMs in July of 2024, when it should have been done by June 2024. Additionally, Bao's document would say there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not Nano had the physical and mental capacity to continue her model. Cinder would say this lines up with what Nano told to Red, and how Nano repeatedly overbooked herself but was never shown anywhere. She would also
He's just skipping over shit. You notice that? Because there was actually something that back in here, huh?
For me to make sure everything he was doing was right. I'm so sorry to you and all the girls. The friend would say that they were going to ask her. In fact, the same friend would message Cinder asking if she was okay, and Cinder would say, I'm sorry.
This is where I'm thinking it's Numi, by the way. Or no, one of the Boss Rush girls. Just saying, because Tricky's friends with Bao. Vienna is also friends with Bao. But I'm thinking this is Numi, honestly.
Sorry, blank, I'm trying to collect myself. Red and I aren't speaking right now, and I'm so upset with everything. Cinder would then go ahead and refute some aspects of Bao's tweet. She said we were so close to begin live 2D and rigging, and Nano would say in her document that Red asked her to cancel Bao's model mid-progress. Cinder would argue that
See, Red asked me to cancel one of their closest friends by Bao by asking me to cancel my manipulating into me thinking it was okay since she has many connections. She'll be fine anyway, so I wouldn't feel guilty about it or worry too much. It was upsetting to me that Red contacted me specifically to check on me canceling models I planned with Bao. That's not what happened. That is not what happened. If you went through Nana's section, granted the way he's doing it here, you wouldn't get the context. But if you actually read Nana's section prior to Bao's, you get the understanding why this is, to put this no other way. a very misleading statement. Borderline, just a borderline lie. Actually, I'm going to say it bluntly. It's a fucking lie. Why Red contacted Bao? Red contacted Natalis to check up on the Sinder model. That was part of this conversation. He was trying to he's got deadlines to meet, people. And Natalis was the main artist that said that she wanted to do it, and he offered multiple times to find another artist, but she's the one that insists upon doing it. Yeah, I know, Elemental. It's just annoying. I kind of figured that's what most likely was going to happen, but I was kind of hoping it wouldn't be.
That's false. Nano hadn't started yet, and she said that in DMs in July of 2024, when it should have been done by June 2024. Additionally, Bao's document would say there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not Nano had the physical and mental capacity to continue her model. Sinder would say this lines up with what Nano told to Red, and how Nano repeatedly overbooked herself but was never shown anywhere. She would also remind us that Red didn't message Nano specifically to see if she canceled Bao, but to see if she canceled any other models. So as you can see, Sinder definitely does disagree with some aspects of what Nano and Bao had said, including some of the most fundamental
If you have read the Natalis part, you know there's a lot of things that she disagreed with what Natalis said. Yeah, Red talks a lot because Red is in there a lot because he was the one that was doing the main handling Natalis the most. Sinder wasn't. And the crux of the controversy is how Red talked to Natalis. Everything's related to Natalis's and Red's conversation. So that's why reading Natalis's section prior to everybody else's is important. Because the Natalis sections tackles the main controversy. Not this bullshit. This is a result of it. Silver Veils is also a result of it. They're the effect, not the cause. He doesn't want... He's purposely jumping over the cause to show results, so the narrative will be they're still bad people.
aspects. It seemed although Sinder realized that what she did and what Red did was wrong, she still wasn't as wrong as Nano and Bao had claimed.
No, that's not exactly what happened. That's not what she claimed. What she said, she was wrong about not saying something when Bao talked about not getting the model canceled because she knew about it. Okay. Red was wrong for his little fucking fucked up headcanon he had about Bao later on during an exclusivity thing. But you're taking a lot of things out of fucking context, and because you didn't show the analyst part first, you think you can get away with it, and you're talking to a guy who read the fucking document the week it came out of, and your bias is showing big time. Now, I don't have a horse in this race. No, you could go to Twitter if you want to and type my name, and is that grumpy old guy a power pup? You will probably have power pups responding to you saying he's always said he's not a power pup, that he's not a fan of Cinders, which no, at the time was true. Okay, am I a fan of Sinder now? Yeah, I like her content. Yeah, I like her content. Technically, yes, I'm a fan. I don't consider myself a power pup because no. To put it in VTuber terms, Sinder is not my Oshi. Saba is. I watch Saba's karaoke stream. That's the reason why this stream started at 8 o'clock, because I was watching Saba's karaoke stream and I wasn't going to miss it. Okay. Just being honest. I've always maintained that policy. I've always said I'm not, for the longest time, and people in my chat can confirm this. I've always said I'm not a fan of Cinders. I'm a big fan of her community. They've always been respectful to me. They always treated me nicely. They understand that I never watched Cinder's content prior to all this shit happening. I gained understanding of what a type of person Cinder is from her community. All right. She created a nice, respectful, wholesome community that kind of tells me the personality of that person. And obviously you have something against her because you're believing somebody else's narrative and you don't want to take this 1,000-page document seriously. That's currently my opinion because of the way you're covering it. You don't want to do it the way it was intended. You want to do it your way so you can support your opinion. Which, don't call yourself a journalist. Don't call yourself you're reporting facts because you're not doing it. It was done in such a way when you get to these sections, the context will be a lot clearer than what you're presenting. Team went on.
In any case, a few days later, on the 9th of August 2024, one of Cinder's editors would decide to step down. This would prompt Red to ask their other video editor yet and to each other over the course of the music video's production. I guess they would do that for transparency's sakes. It is such a waste of time to go through every single message because mostly it's technicalities. It's like, hey, this song has a lot of type.
Just context. Oh God. No, this is a waste of time. Is it a slog to get through? Yes. But if you want to get the full picture, you need to go through the full thing. Go through everything. If you're not going to go through everything, just say that, hey, I'm going to talk out of half my ass. Okay, just do that. Just say you're going to talk out of half your ass. Because then you're being truthful, because you don't feel like reading everything. All right, fine.
Topography. I can send you more details about the artwork, blah, blah, blah. I mean, really, this is very technical here. If you're interested in making a music video, maybe you'd find this interesting. But one of the more notable things that would happen is that Red would offer to pay double for Sacramore's work if he could finish it under a very tight deadline. Sacramore would agree, and he'd get right down to work. In total, there will be 12 pages of DMs, and again, most of it would be technical. In the end, what matters the most is that the music video ended up amazing.
No! There's problems that have come up that had to be resolved. It shows how Redacted interacted with vendors. To debunk the whole manipulation bullshit. It's not technical stuff. There's issues here.
Amazing. In the end, what mattered the most is that the music video turned out amazing. Red would pay the full amount immediately as soon as it was done, and he'd tell Sack, we'll have another project for you soon. Okay, not that soon, but still, thank you again for your work on this one. To which Sack would say, all good, looking forward to it. Now look, I know we're going through a lot of details, so a little reminder. Sacramore was Bao's music video editor, okay? That's what he was known for. Because of his work for Bao...
You also forget Sacramore had a family emergency that was in those DMs. Granted, Red was not the most understanding about it. I'll say that he didn't come off as most understanding. He was trying to figure out deadlines for the Boss Rush video. It is what it is. But there was a lot of stuff in those DMs that he just whiffed on by.
Red and Cinder wanted to work with him, and they just did, making a banger music video that featured Cinder and a couple of other friends. And even though this was Bao's editor being used for the video, and even though she wasn't featured in that video, she would still leave a comment showing her support when it would be finally uploaded, saying, "Goddamn, they ate. Those are my girls. Holy." Now, check out what Cinder has to say about this. My new music group Boss Rush premiered our first song at the end of November. Red and I were going through the comments, and we both saw Bao's. He didn't want me to like hers, so I gave in just to satisfy him. At the end of the day, it was just a comment. Now, to me, this is probably the most fascinating paragraph in this entire 93-page section. The reason for that being...
Jeez. Oh, here comes Mr. Bias. We're marching him out to the field so he can wave the Bao flag because that's who he's rooting for. Is that a bad take? Yes. But is it the worst thing in the world? No. It's apparently this is at the time Red had an issue with Bao. You know, remember, Red is someone that Cinder has to deal with on a daily basis, probably hourly. And probably just didn't feel like getting into a fucking argument about it because it was just a comment. Should she gone ahead and liked the comment? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's not a big fucking deal. Okay?
Is you feel very bad for Cinder in the first 3 sentences. It's like, what do you mean you wanted to like your friend's supportive comment and your partner forced you not to? You start to feel that maybe Cinder's trapped, that she wasn't able to express herself fully because of this deranged partner who had it out for Bao. But then she decides to add this sentence, saying at the end of the day, it was just a comment. Almost as if she was completely undermining the supportive comment, as if she was just throwing it to the side in the trash, as if it never mattered to begin with, that this shouldn't even be a big deal. Okay, but look at this from Bao's perspective.
Because it isn't.
She had her model canceled with Nano. Every one of her friends supported her. Cinder said nothing. She leaves a comment.
I'll be honest. I get people making comments on my videos. There's one Kevin makes comments on my videos all the time. I think I've thumbed up or I've hearts a few of them. There's other people who have made comments, and maybe I don't remember if I've liked every single one of them. All right, to be honest with you, but if I don't like a comment, it's not the end of the fucking world. Yeah, I'm just 141, cool. 141 subscriber. But I appreciate every person that leaves a comment. I really do. And that's why I try to like every single comment, like the first few. If someone likes a comment from a video, makes a comment, but a video from like 5 months ago, I'm like, okay. It's 5 months ago. It's a video that's 5 months old. No, it's more important those comments happen like even in the first week because it kind of pushes it into the algorithm. But at the end of the day, it's Bao, a very large VTuber. Her not liking a comment by Bao, one comment by Bao, is not going to take away subscribers. It's not going to have a detrimental effect on her career. Maybe it will come up, why didn't you like my conversation? And like my comment, and then they can have a discussion about it, but I seriously doubt that Bao said anything. Because guess what, buddy? Mujin, it's not that big of a fucking deal. Oh.
Comment on Cinder's video. It got over 4,000 upvotes. It's one of the top comments. There's no way you can miss it. Cinder would like every other friend's comment except Bao. I mean, if you're Bao by this point, what would you think? Like, as if you're being singled out, right? It's not a pleasant feeling. I also want to take the opportunity to remind you that when Bao worked with an editor that had worked with Cinder before, she took it personally. Was Bao also taking this personally? Up to you to decide.
No, Red took it personally, not Cinder.
Red would add, after the past few months, I had a pretty solid opinion of how I thought Bao viewed her friends, so I told Cinder she shouldn't like it. I was persistent about it, so she listened to me. It was very petty of me towards a friend showing support. But when it came to Red's rivalry with Bao, this was only the beginning. Barely a week later, Bao would start a group chat with both Red and Cinder. They don't have screenshots of it now because they were removed from the group. In any case, the reason why she had created this group was because Bao wanted to collab with Cinder. And from Cinder's perspective, Red was adamant to her about not wanting to plan anything with Bao at this time, so they didn't. Red would add, Bao's never messaged us like this before, and this was right after Boss Rush popped off with another 2 friends involved. I wasn't opposed to doing things with her completely, but the timing was suspicious to me after the past few experiences with her, and I saw this as her trying to gain something from us. So I brushed her off, and what stood out to me is that she addressed Cinder specifically as the lead singer of Boss Rush. So look, when Red tells Nano, we're gonna fire you as a joke, it's just a joke. But when Bao addresses Cinder as the lead singer of Boss Rush, it's concerning. It's a problem. Interesting logic all around. And speaking of Boss Rush, it was so successful that Red, 11 days...
It's interesting logic that you didn't cover the analysis section prior to this, so you can get full context of what's going on here. Whatever.
Days after it had released, would message Sakamore about working on another project for February 2025. This is when Sakamore would announce that he was only going to work with Bao exclusively going forward. In Cinder's initial April 2025 apology, she said, and yes, I was also upset when Sak, the Boss Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future project with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened, and seemingly held a grudge against her for it. In the DMs that were included, Red would say, hey, you want to do a music video for February? And Sak would say, hey, sorry, but after January 2nd, I'm closing down all comms and working completely in-house for Bao. Red would be confused.
And yes, I was also with Zach, the Boss Rush video music editor. He told us, no, yeah. Excuse me. Rush for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it. But he told me without a music video editor as talented as Zach, the future projects wouldn't reach the same heights. So he created this canon that's laid out in those DMs. Yeah, this is from her apology. If you're going to read it, read it. Read all of it. Not just the parts that make Sinder look bad. The whole fucking thing. God, I wish I had alcohol. Because maybe I wouldn't get as pissed off.
Saying, I thought you wanted to do more. And Sakamore would say, yeah, I really want to. It's very hard for me to say no, but I have to prioritize other things in my life. And this path would help me achieve the things I want to do in my personal life as well as professionally. In the document, Red would say, the last time I spoke to Sakamore, he said he was honored to be a part of Boss Rush's project and was looking forward to the next music video together. Everyone loved the video he made and it was already nearing 500,000 views. I didn't know Sakamore well at all, so I had no real basis to know how he actually felt, but I just couldn't understand his decision coming out of nowhere. Now, I really want to take the time to point out one message that Red had sent Sakamore in these DMs. After Sakamore had laid out his logic, saying that he needs to take a different path in life to achieve his personal life goals, Red would reply with, all right, well, I let Sinder know she's pretty upset and disappointed, but it is what it is, I guess. Again, I just feel forced to point out the irony here, how guilt-trippy this sounds, how unprofessional this is.
All right, well, she's pretty upset and disappointed. Oh, hi, she should be fucking happy. The guy who edited your most viewed music video, yay! He's not doing another one. Yay! Would you try to do a little manipulation, try to keep him working with you? Because he's been a proven success. Maybe. Put it this way, I'm assuming a really talented music video editor is a lot harder to find than an artist. Just saying, because here, let's take a look at it. I'm sure I don't want to have to look that hard to find it either. Oh no, the porn site, YouTube. Well, there goes the monetization for this video. Let's see. There's my name. All right, there we are. I mean, I'm gonna turn it down. This is more about the video itself than the song. I mean, look at it. This is a very well edited video. This guy is very talented. I mean, let me expand it. So, I mean, look at all these cuts, okay? All the graphics and everything. This guy's really talented. It's somebody that you definitely want to work with again. And try a little manipulation to get him to work with you again. Because, duh, why would you not? I mean, seriously, why wouldn't you want this guy to work with you again? So, being upset and disappointed, legitimate feelings. What, you want to throw a fucking party that he's not gonna want? He doesn't want to work with you. You want exclusive with Bao? Because this guy Mujin, or whatever the fuck his name is twisting things. He's reading between the fucking lines. But I mean, look at this. I mean, look at this. I mean, graphically, I mean, this is extremely well edited, creative on his part, and accents the song perfectly. All right. So him sitting there going, acting like he doesn't understand why he redacted would say something like this to try a little bit of manipulation to get the guy to work with him. One, he probably never seen the fucking video. Probably never seen anything this guy worked on. He redacted didn't threaten him. He didn't go all full like rage mode or anything like that. So a little manipulation, yeah. Because he knows a talented music video editor and wants him to work on other things to, to kind of keep the theme going. You know what? You know what I call that? Mr. Mujin? Good business. That's what it's called. And I know that's a dirty thing for people that pay attention to the Sinder stuff. But good business is good business. And keeping a talented music video editor, that's fucking good business. And the loss of one hurts your business.
Was when Red, when talking to Nano and talking in this document, would mention how guilt-trippy Bao was. I mean, if this isn't guilt-trippy, then what is? The next day, on December 11th, 2024, Red would continue the conversation, inquiring as to the exact reasoning of why Sakurmore didn't want to work with him again. He was messaging Sinder at the same time, and would ask him at some point, Sinder wanted to ask, is there any goals our projects can help you with? She's just confused about why it's so...
Senator wanted me to ask. No, he wasn't messaging. He doesn't say he was messaging Senator at the same time. He just says Senator wanted me to ask. Don't read the fucking thing. Don't add more words to it. Just use the words that are there.
hard for you to turn down more projects when you enjoyed the last one and it did so well. Sakurmore would again specify, at some point, the only growth for him in freelance is to just start charging more money for projects. But he didn't really care that much about money. He wanted to build a community, saying that he was going in-house with Bao because she has been his day one and supported / took a chance on him when he was a literal nobody, living in basic poverty, and wanted to do whatever he could to repay her kindness. So it was very straightforward. He wanted to be loyal and work for Bao because she was his day one, and in the meantime, focus on his own stuff, not letting some freelance gigs get in the way of that. Red would act even more confused, saying, I'm not sure what you mean by your personal content if you're just working with Bao. I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere since you seem pretty eager to work with Sinder at TwitchCon, and even after the last project, especially since it did numbers. But if that's how you feel, then we won't try to change your mind and respect your decision. Thanks again for your work. Good luck on your goals. Red would say in the document, by the end of our conversation, I was suspicious of his reasoning. Sinder would then say, right after this, Red messaged our video editor about music video editors and what happened with Sack. They're close with and works with Bao and her other editors, including Sack. Yeah, again, this is how you can confirm this wasn't written by AI. What the hell was this sentence? What Sinder meant to say is that Red messaged their video editor, telling them about what happened with Sakurmore and asking if he knew any other music video editors. The video editor would say, I know he's been wanting to make his own videos for the past year, but got caught up with doing a lot of editing work, so I guess he's really wanting to focus on it moving forward. I mean, it was right there. It was the same exact thing that Sakurmore had told Red. And instead of taking it as fact, Red admits he didn't, and still thought something else must have happened. I wish I can summarize this next page, but there's no way to summarize Red's logic without you having to really listen to every word he says. What really made him suspicious was when Sakurmore said he's going in-house with Bao because she has been his day one and supported him when he was a nobody. Red would say, it was this message from Sakurmore that made me suspicious of what his actual reason was for going exclusive with Bao. He only said all this after he was pushed about his decision, and this was only days after Sinder and I turned down Bao in that group chat where she called Sinder the lead.
I thought you didn't want to read every single word. Say one thing, do the other. Okay, I get it.
Singer of Boss Rush. Because of my experience with Bao over the past few months, I had confirmation bias. I convinced myself Sack was doing this because Bao must have guilt-tripped him and convinced him not to work with anyone other than her, including Boss Rush. And I was mad that this wasn't even just against Sinder and I, but Tricky and Vienna too, the two other singers of Boss Rush, who I cared about as much as Sinder did. He would then link.
I wouldn't have known that it were the two other singers of Boss Rush, because if you hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have a fucking clue. Whatever.
Of what confirmation bias means from a Google search. It's where people tend to favor information that confirms their existing beliefs, regardless of whether it's true or not. So
this video is apparently an example of that.
in other words, he's calling himself delusional. And then he would go on to say that one thing that wasn't mentioned yet is Bao's.
Hello, pot. Meet calling black.
own relationship in regards to her music throughout last year in 2024. He'd say she would talk publicly in her Discord server about how depressed she was about her own songs, about how nothing she did performed well, guilt-tripping her fans about not liking them or listening to them, and ignoring their supportive messages like it meant nothing to her because the numbers didn't reflect them. He would then speculate about the only songs she actually found successful in 2024, they would be 3, and would then point out that they all had her friends in them. At some point, Red would tell Nano about Bao's weird behavior, and would mention how the reason he thinks she got Sakamore to be exclusive was because one of her songs flopped. Here's the message. This was initially included in Bao's document in April 2025. He would argue that the reason why he said that was because he thought it was a flop from Bao's point of view. He was referring to how she thought of them, implying that he thought this was motivation for him to do what he was telling Nano about, which was about the topic of Sakamore. To back up his claims, he would argue that he would constantly see Bao complaining he was exclusively going to work with Bao from now on. For some reason, Sinder makes the point of saying this was the same day as my Heaven Hound model debut. I have no idea how they're related. Red would then say, as far as I was aware, Sakamore was already basically exclusive to...
Well, if you read the now section, you can kind of get the context of that, but you want to reinforce your narrative there, buddy. Yeah. And you're skipping a lot of fucking DMs and context of those DMs and all that shit, so...
Of Cinder, this is when Nano said, then we had a deal, and Red would make a recap of the entire deal again. No work at all with Bao, Cotton, Silver. We'll continue giving you more work. We'll pay for the...
Why don't you just do the Nautilus section? When does he get to Nautilus? Numi, he gets to Nautilus here. Basically halfway through this video. So he's going to go do all this, talk about all this stuff, and then get to Nautilus. So all this up here that's supposed to happen after Nautilus's part, because it's the crux of everything, you don't really get the whole context or how everything played out. Because let's put it to a different way. What happened first? Was it a Bao document came out first? No. Was it Shy Lily's little bit? No. Was it Numi? No. Was it Van Peaches? No. Was it Rain? No. It was Nautilus. She was first. So why is she in the document first? Because that's the order it happened. How can someone be so fucking dense? Really? I mean, we're about 10 minutes away from two hours. Yeah, I've been streaming for 2 hours, so it kind of makes sense. And I already can tell that he's not interested in like context or factual information or anything like that. He's just more interested in waving the flag for Bao and probably for Shy Lily. He's not really doing a deep dive. He's not doing this. He's not doing a deep dive. He's doing stuff to strengthen his opinions. He's cherry picking. Okay? He's not really showing you the full context of the document as it was presented. Because if he was doing that, guess what? All this would be Nautilus right now. All right.
Check it out. This section would be called V-Card and Numi's Concert, and here's how Cinder would introduce it. Check it out. This section would be called V-Card. Without her, we're making her feel. I stayed quiet and gave in to Red, hoping he would move on over time, never knowing what he did and said behind my back. I was an awful friend to Bao for months when she didn't deserve it. On the 26th of April 2025, Bao would post her document 6 minutes after Nano would post hers. According to Cinder, she was already removed along with Red from Bao's friend list at this point and blocked on Twitter. Cinder would end this section about Bao with a very ironic message. That message would be sent on the 27th of December 2024, saying, "This is a message I sent to another close friend at the end of December. Ironically, I didn't have healthy communication with my friends. I couldn't open up to them or talk to them about difficult subjects. I never spoke to Bao about anything that was going on. In the next section, I go over how my lack of communication hurt Numi too, another one of Cinder's friends." That ironic message that Cinder was talking about said, "I love when friends have healthy communication. It feels so good." Congratulations, you made it to the end of Bao's section, but no time to breathe. As you saw, the next section would be about Numi. It would be way shorter than this, thank God, but we will go through it before going to Nano's section, because as you saw at the end there, Numi was already aware of how Bao was feeling in regards to Cinder. She was also one of Cinder's closest friends in the space. So what happened exactly, and how did Cinder hurt her, just like she hurt Bao?
Now, I want to remind you, because he's probably going to just, like, twist this somehow, I'm assuming. Numi and Cinder worked out their problems. And Numi kind of helped Cinder realize that she was being a Bao friend, a bad friend. Numi helped Cinder understand that she was being a bad friend. And Cinder was making an effort to correct that. Right before these fucking documents dropped. She was trying to figure out what was going on with Shy Lily. Did she do something to offend her? All that stuff. But Shy Lily ghosted her constantly and refused to communicate with her. That's on Shy Lily, by the way, not on Cinder. So in other words, they could have kept this private because Cinder was making an effort. All right. I mean, I've said this before, you know. And oh, excuse me. I'm checking something out. Give me a second. Oh. Okay. It's you can't read this document the way he's presenting to you. You have to read it as it's put out there, because you're missing a lot of context. You're missing out on the whole crux of this. All right, he's still manipulating the narrative. Mujin is manipulating the narrative to stay with Shy Lily, Bao, Daedalus, all that stuff. That Cinder is a manipulative, and the Red is a horrible human being. They did god awful stuff. Apparently, apparently if you get a Daedalus model, this is what happens. You go to the bathroom, you shit gold nuggets, and you piss $1,000 bills. If you don't have a Daedalus model, none of that happens. He says in the video that speculations are bad. Then when he used speculations in the docs of the accuser as fact, when it blew. Yeah. This is the third time this guy changes the thumbnail and the title of this video since it was. It just, so far, I'm being honest, I really don't want to watch the rest of this. Because I to see what's going on. It isn't about covering facts. It's not really a deep dive. It's, how can I keep my opinions and make my opinions the truth? That's what all this is. This is not legitimately covering the situation. It's, I like Bao. I like Shy Lily. I think Daedalus's art's cool. Cinder's bad because people couldn't get a Daedalus model. And she backstabbed her friends. That's the narrative he wants to push forward, because if he didn't, he would have Daedalus right here. But hold on. So we're going.
Well, let's check it out. This section will be.
Hey, that's not.
This section would be around 203 pages.
Okay, hold on.
My closest friends didn't notice or care. Now again, Numi would reply with a very lengthy message, but again, I really have to emphasize it's very important because it shows not just how she felt, but how multiple of Cinder's friends felt, including Bao. She'd say, all I really wanted in all of this was to hear how you felt, so I really appreciate you being open and honest with me despite everything. I was given so many different reasons, and when you brought up feeling obligated to be there for the V-card thing, I think it really made me feel sad because you didn't acknowledge anything prior to that. It was the first I heard from you regarding the concert, and hearing you connect the reason to business, I felt like I meant less to you. As disappointing as it was, I truly just wanted to hear from you, so thank you again for opening up in the previous message. Red is a nice friend to me, and I understand for a lot of business things it's better to go through him, but this was just something very deep and personal to me, and something that you committed to with me when I asked you in person. So it meant a lot more to hear from you in that respect. The different responses I'd get from both of you were very confusing, but most of all, it left me confused with how you truly felt regarding it all. I hope from this you can understand I'm here for you too. You do different things, but we're both.
You notice he's reading a DM that makes Cinder look bad. All the other DMs that kind of like points out things, he just kind of skips. If you're going to cover something, then fucking cover it.
in the same space dealing with a lot of similar difficulties. I'll always be here to extend an ear or a hand if you need me, especially if it's relating to music. One of the reasons I kept asking you if you were sure about the show, aside from the prep for everything, was because I wanted to know if you were having any second thoughts, or if you needed to vent any frustrations or fears regarding performing. I've told you this, but I had stage fright for years because of a traumatizing first experience, and I only gained confidence through VTubing and making music with blank. Every single show I've done was either ruined or messy in some way, but I've still managed to push forward and get over a lot of my fears. When Red was telling me you were anxious, I wish you could have brought it up with me sooner. It's scary opening up to people, especially after you told me how other friends were to you in the past, but I promise I would have been here to listen to you and hear about everything and reassure you that it would be okay. If afterwards you still felt too scared, we could have figured it out and found a proper demons were in her head for a while, and she tried to silence them for as long as she could. Just like Bao, always trying to give Sinder the benefit of the doubt, putting herself in her shoes and trying to empathize. Obviously, that's a very big deal. It shows that you're neglecting your friends, miscommunicating, etc., etc. And to Sinder, she'd admit that this whole situation was a wake-up call. She realigned her priorities, and she told herself that she couldn't let something like this ever happen again. She'd only reply 2 hours later to Numi because she broke down crying after reading her message. They'd figure out the details, and they would conclude that she was coming. So the next day, on February 1st, 2025, Sinder and Shy Lily would do the unboxing collab for V-Card. Cinder would share her DMs with Shy Lily, showing that they were friendly. I mean, everything was going well, and both Red and Cinder would finally be able to make it to the
just skip all
They
that.
enjoyed their matching shirts together, and they spent the rest of the weekend there with friends. At this point, Cinder would claim that she was already planning to be at Numi's next concert in the US, if not both of them. She simply wasn't going to let Numi down again. These two shows ended up happening at the end of July, and she wasn't there for obvious reasons, because she was cancelled. This would mark the end of the Numi section. And like I said, it's pretty important in parallel to what happened to Bao. Even though Numi had, essentially suffered a bit less than Bao, I think Cinder was still communicating with her fairly regularly. She didn't neglect her as hard, but I mean, Numi was aware of what was going on with Bao. They were truly trying to find the best case scenario while trying their best to give Cinder the benefit of the doubt. Of course, that would all come crashing down though on April 2025, when Nanolist, otherwise known as Nano, would post her document about Cinder. Let's head to her section in the document. This section would be
All right. You don't get a lot of context in the Numi stuff. The main context is that Numi pointed out to Cinder her behavior, how it appears, and basically kind of told her, you need to shape the fuck up or else you're going to lose a bunch of friends. And Cinder agreed with her. In other words, Cinder took accountability. Oh, fuck. Something that people don't want to highlight. And quite frankly, what a lot of other players in this drama don't do. I've said this repeatedly, and I'm going to say it again. There is absolutely nobody involved in this that isn't blameless. They all have shit on their hands. They got stuff they should take accountability for. Nanolis needs to take accountability for instigating this, basically turning people against Cinder for her own gain. Shy Lily needs to take accountability for not responding to Cinder, who was trying to be a good friend and try to work things out with her. No, but Shy Lily went into mean bitch mode. Bao needs to take accountability for not giving her good friend Cinder an opportunity to explain herself. And Shy Lily needs to take accountability for dragging Numi into this when she didn't want to be dragged into it. Because Shy Lily was the one that did that. Your three major players have things they need to take accountability for. Don't hold your breath for them to do that shit. Okay? And don't go sitting there calling them bitches and stuff like, and go nutsy kooky on Twitter. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Don't send hate harassment thing. I'm just saying don't do that because you're going to make Cinder look bad. That's what I'm saying. Because if I do it, everybody knows I'm not a power pup. I've said it enough times. So also, people don't give a flying fuck about my opinion anyway. Yeah. Mujin is like, how do I disrespect the journalism? Everyone's got skull. Yeah, it's just no one in this looks good. Nobody. I mean, the reason why I respect Cinder so much is because she took accountability. And to a certain degree, I respect Red because he took accountability. I just think he took it way too fucking long. But that's just my opinion. I'm just happy he finally took accountability. You know, it's one of those things, like, it's a fucking high school drama. There's not a quote-unquote winner in this. All right? There's not one person who's more right than the other. I just think this is blown out way of proportion. Nobody's careers were threatened. So you don't get a fucking analyst model. A lot of these people, VTubers, Shiloh and Bao and Numi, who's like another one here, Ninetales, Spite, all were doing fine without an analyst model. An analyst model is not going to get you a million followers, another million followers on Twitch. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Because if it was like that, I'd be hitting up an analyst trying to scrounge up $10,000 for her to make me a fucking model. If it was that fucking easy. I don't know that Sinder was the only one that reached out to one of them to settle the matter in private. Yeah. I think Sinder tried to reach out to all of them and found out she was blocked every place and removed from groups. There was a lot better way to handle this situation than fucking dropping Google Docs. But we're gonna
be around 203 pages, one of the more lengthier ones of this document. It would start off with Sinder posting the tweet that Nanolis had made and saying this: Nano's document by August. Can she actually do that? Would there be enough time? He needed a concrete answer so that he can figure out the next steps for that project. He'd also say, and one more thing, were there any other factors from her perspective that led to this decision besides artistic burnout? Akira would say, I'll bring it up with her. I'm thinking we might have a clearer answer by June regarding a potential start date for the Demon Model update, which was the... Alright, so Shiloh section would actually be a... a mere 25 pages. Stream right now. Sinder would say, if this was truly what Nano was feeling, even if we were completely unaware of it and she chose not to talk to us at all about it, we still accepted her decision with hopes of working with her again in the future. I was extremely hurt by how Nano went about this. She didn't even give us the courtesy to explain herself after years of working together, and instead sent someone we'd never even heard of to say goodbye for her. The last message above was 5 days before Nano posted her document. In these DMs on April 21st, it will be read saying that Sinder was very hurt that Nano hadn't chosen to talk with her directly about this. That both him and Sinder...
I really don't care about Shelly's section. It's I know a lot of it's clap back Sinder in there, which it is amusing to me, but okay, let's go to here.
That. As you saw at the beginning of this video, I talked to you about this tweet where Shondo inadvertently revealed that Sinder was married to Red, and yeah, she'd end up streaming. Her comeback stream would be on the 15th of October, and it would peak at 13,800 viewers. Her Pyro Pups would also shower her with money. I think she made anything from $10,000 to $40,000, reaching a level 55 hype train and only being live for close to 3 hours. She streamed 7 more times since then, with the last stream being on the 26th of October, 2025. Her viewership has been stabilizing, yes, and she has been losing some followers here and there. But overall, she's still in the top 1,000 channels on Twitch, and she's definitely doing very good. This is something that I expressed in my first video. She could have taken a week break, come back with a better apology, and just resume streaming like she always has. I mean, come on, who are we kidding here? Dr. Disrespect set this precedent. He messaged the minor, and look at his career. The reality is, unless a platform bans you, you could murder someone, but people will still watch when you stream. Here's the thing though, before her comeback stream, she had made this announcement in her Discord server, saying, hi, I'll be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday, October 15th. I hope to see you there. For those wondering, I won't be talking about anything that happened in the past. I'd like to move on for mine and everyone else's sake and try to just have a normal stream, so I'd appreciate your understanding. So yeah, I looked through her stream, I can confirm she didn't talk about anything related to the drama. It was just her mostly crying and being happy that she's back with her community, also showing off the dog that she adopted. She'd then say in this message, I want to clarify something else too. Red will continue helping and supporting me as a mod, but he is no longer acting as my manager or communicating for me. I have a new management team that will be advising me going forward. So that definitely was a very big piece of information that was left out of her document. I don't know why. You see, her document specifically said that Red was sticking around doing the same thing he's always done, which was be her manager. The only difference is that now...
No! She didn't say that. But she said he was still operating... Basically what she's saying, that Red will still be doing what he did before, leading the creative side. Because that's what he kind of did before. He would not be doing any communications on his own, that she will be seeing all communications. She will be part of any groups that he's in, that where she can check out the DMs. That's what she said. She never said that Red was going to stay as her manager. Now, why didn't she say I have a new management team? Well, is there a timetable when she has to announce that? Maybe she put it in here because she finally got everybody in place that she needed to get in place, because shit takes time. And it was a good time to make that announcement. And two, it also cuts off all the anybody coming into her chat saying, "Is Red still your manager?" She made a statement, no, he isn't. But he will still be a mod and also helping with the creative process. Nothing wrong with that.
Now she'll be part of his DMs. Now, I don't know if this was planned or she saw the community backlash over her keeping Red and decided within the week of her posting the document that she was going to get rid of him. One thing's for certain, though, I don't know what to believe. I mean, come on, guys, they're married. We can't reasonably ask them to divorce over internet drama.
This guy's hung up on them. He wants that to be true so bad. I revealed that they're married off of someone's tweet. No offense, shut up. But you don't fucking know.
But at the same time, it's hard to believe that he won't still be playing an important role in all of this. Either way, time will tell with the artist she works with.
Yeah, he's going to be helped with creative. She said that. Pay attention to what you're reading.
With the editors, for example, is Red doing communication or is it actually going to be a team? We'll find out eventually. However, I cannot overstate how much of a massive positive difference it would have done for her if she included this in the redacted section of her document. She'd then say, I'd also like to repeat here that I do not condone the harassment of anyone and I never have. Please leave people alone. The mods have been directed to take action against those who do so against my wishes. Thank you. Now, you're probably wondering, what were people's reaction to this? More specifically, how did the people in her document react? Did they make their own statement? Did they talk about it? Did they say anything? Well, of course not. This was a 1,000-page document. Regular people didn't read it, and even content creators for the most part didn't bother reading the whole thing either. Very few did. I mean, seriously, would you rather read this or Lord of the Rings? And plus, it's not worth it. And even after you come up with your response, what is it really going to do? The people who hate you...
It is worth it. He's lying to you. I'm going to say Mujin is flat out lying to you. If you're truly interested in getting the full context to know every fact involved in this situation, it is worth reading that 1,000-page document or listening to videos that people have sat there and read through that document. Not a 5-hour video. No one can go through this document and go through every detail in that document in 5 hours. It's just fucking impossible. How do I know? How do I know? I'll fucking show you. I'll fucking show you how I know. You know? Let me get to the live. That's how I know. 10 hours, 11 hours, 9 hours, 3 hours. That's how I know. I went through every fucking word. The only time I started skipping stuff is with DMs and Red saying the same stuff in certain sections. I scrolled through it and said, these are stuff we already covered. We're moving past it. Okay, and sometimes, most of the time, I didn't. I still fucking read it. But still, 10 hours, 11 hours, 9 hours, you can't fucking get through that document in 5 hours. You can't even do a TDLR in 5 hours. Sorry. What he did was cherry pick. That's what all he did was cherry pick. You know, he wasn't...
Or read it.
And I'll be honest with you. All he did was try to reinforce his opinion, reinforce the narrative that Sinder was a bad person. Okay. This is not the worst thing that happened in the VTuber sphere, to be honest with you. Okay. Hachima was on a stream contemplating self-harm. That's pretty fucking bad. V Shoujo stole $500,000 from charity. Didn't pay vendors. Didn't pay their talent. We have VTubers that have elicited those type of pictures from minors. There's VTubers that have got into intimate relationships with fans. There's VTubers that propositioned minors. Sinder didn't do none of that. Are you telling me that this is the worst thing that happened to VTubers? You need some fucking perspective. If you think the Sinder stuff is the worst thing that happened in the VTubing community, you need some fucking perspective. It's not even fucking close. It's not, I'm going to be honest, it's not even in the top 10. There's a lot more horrible shit that's happened in the VTuber community than this. This is high school bullshit. This is a bunch of girls that got mad at each other and they went public with it over a fucking artist. An artist, once again, having a model done by an analyst doesn't guarantee you of anything. It's just a pretty picture. At the end of the day, that's all it is. It's not a guarantee to success. And if anybody says differently, they're retarded. Simply, they're fucking retarded. She backstabbed her friends. She created a blacklist. No, Red did. Let's be clear about that. He did that without her knowledge. He included Bao and Cottontail on his own accord. And Sinder didn't find out until after the analysis document came out. About Red's schizo behavior towards Bao and Cottontail. Should she have been made aware? Should she have kept on top of Red and his communication? Yes. But that's not an egregious thing. She wanted to trust someone that she had a close relationship with and thought she can trust them. Well, she was wrong. And she admits she's wrong. She took accountability. That should give her a modicum of respect. She didn't hide nothing. If you go through that document, she doesn't hide anything. She didn't try to shift blame. She didn't try to skirt around it. She didn't try to dodge and weave. She admits she was a bad friend. Well, guess what? Shadow Lily's a bad friend too. Bao the Whale's a bad friend too. Nanolis is a bad friend too. Because they refused to talk to their friend or someone that she believes she was friends with. In other words, they did the same shit they accused Sinder of doing. At the end of the day, that's the fucking truth. That's the truth. Because they could have gone to Lily. The announcement was like a week after her. Yeah, this guy is supposed to be. This is the first video I've seen of his. Okay, and how to put this. I don't know if he's been reliable on other things. It just seems to me he has a bias towards Sinder. I don't know if he's friends with Bao, Shadow, or any of them. You know what? I don't really fucking care. What I cared about if he was going to be fair. And as soon as he started jumping through the document and not covering how it was presented, because it was done for a reason. I knew he wasn't going to be fair. That's the reason why I stopped being interested in his video and his opinion. The whole marriage thing, he got that from a fucking tweet. He didn't. There's nothing. Cinder or Red has never said they are married. They have said they're boyfriend and girlfriend. They're in a relationship. They never said they were married. And quite frankly, if they are, it's none of our fucking business. It was never a fucking business that they were in a relationship anyway. It should have never come out. It was done out of spite by Van Peaches. That's the only reason it came out. She did it out of spite. So she can hurt Cinder by making something that was personal into a public thing. You know, that's all. That's all it was for. It was to hurt Cinder. That's all the reason why it was done. It wasn't done so, hey, this is important information. No, it wasn't. It was important information that we knew that Red and Cinder were in a relationship. We didn't need to know about it. No? Yeah, I'm playing with my screen. Trying to get this the way I want it. Yeah, I'll be happy with that. If you're going to report on, do a story, okay, let's be clear. There's a difference in reporting on something and giving your opinion, okay? My factual statements are based on all the documents, okay? From the time I covered Analys's document to when I covered Cinder's document, I have read them all. And I, from the very beginning, always felt something was wrong. Always felt something was wrong. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't have a horse in this race. I don't. No. I knew about some of these people. I knew about Shidoli. I knew about Val. Didn't have a fucking clue who Nanalis is. I mean, I've heard of them, but I don't really. I mean, seen some clips. I mean, Womp Womp and Bao, interacting with this VTuber and stuff. I mean, Shiloh interacting with Kobo. I mean, I've seen those, but as like watching their VODs, no. So, I mean, I didn't watch any Cinder clips when I started. So to say that I'm biased, you got to work on that one. And even, I mean, the whole just business thing, I was like, what's wrong with that? That's the way it should be. Red admits that he did a few things wrong, a lot wrong, actually. He was unprofessional. I'm not saying that you need to be a cold prick to your vendors, but you don't treat them like your best friends. All right? You don't sit there and do gossip or talk tea like Red and Nanalis did. And Nanalis asked Red to do it. Nanalis wanted the exclusive deal. She was the first person to bring it up. Nanalis was the one she said she didn't want to work with Bao. Unprompted, mind you. But no one's talking about that. Everyone's trying, granted, Nanalis is not posting on Twitter. At least I don't think she has. Let me double check that. I got Twitter open on my other computer. Let me verify that. Let's see. Nope, wrong keyboard. Nanalis. She reposted something on the 31st. She just reposted shit. Okay, last time she actually made a post, legitimate post, was on October 31st of her Halloween model. That was it. I mean, there's nothing on here but her talking about anything. Okay, here it is. October 11th. It's finally here. Worked on this game 8 years ago. Check them out if you like cute monsters, girl. Some tweet by Sad Panda Studios. Soulmates game. Okay, that's the last time she really typed anything out. Mostly, artwork and stuff like that. I mean, she's an artist. It's kind of figured out what's going to happen. But, like Crazy Alex. But if you want to say I'm biased about the fact that I see people not reporting on this truthfully, without bias. I mean, False ID didn't do it. Linda Nikalsi didn't do it. Rema Evastar didn't do it. They didn't read the docs all the way. Yeah, I know. I know it was like 5 days after her apology on Discord. Let's see, False ID. Rema Evastar didn't really do it. She didn't really go through the Google Doc, to be honest with you. At least if she did, she didn't. I've seen one stream on Twitch in her VODs about it. Most quote-unquote people who report on VTuber news don't go through the Google Doc. I mean, False admits that he skipped parts. How can you cover something or report in the news if you skip parts? He still hasn't released a video on it, thank God. Because it'd probably be biased as hell. Cinder's the second coming of Satan. And don't mean that in a good way, like her lore. All these efforts by these people, in my opinion, is they feel that Cinder still needs to be punished for stuff. Which, at the end of the day, even if Cinder did everything they said that she did, it's not that fucking egregious. In my opinion. Backstab a friend. Well, guess what? You're going to go through life and you're going to probably backstab a friend. It's midnight. No, it's 11 p.m. Are we good? We're getting there. You're going to go through life. You're going to hurt your friends. It's part of life. It happens. Most of the time, unintentionally. Yeah. And if they don't want to be friends anymore, so be it. Don't be friends anymore. Okay. Because you know what? You can make more friends. All right. Like I said, this stuff, it's just high school drama. Nothing. There's nothing really egregious here. Oh, I'm not going to have a nano smile. Oh, I can't shit gold bars and piss $1,000 bills because I have a nano smile. I don't get the big fucking deal, really. It's not like there's 1,000 artists out there that could do just as good as work as Natalis and maybe charge half the amount of money. I mean, seriously. I mean, listen, Natalis is a talented artist. Okay, I'm not trying to take that away from her. She's a talented artist. What I'm saying, there are other artists that are just as talented as Natalis. There are even some that I would consider that are better than Natalis. All right? I mean, I see them on Twitter all the fucking time. Maybe some of them are AI. I don't know. I'm not really looking that hard at it. But So you don't have an analyst model. Guess what? You didn't have one before and you were successful. Okay? It isn't a big fucking problem. It's crazy people involved are getting backlash from things they did in the last days, like Bao. And Sinder's just minding her own business, is happy. Yeah, no. What did I say at the end when I covered the document? You know what the best move for everybody? Keep their fucking mouth shut. Don't talk about it. And who talked about Bao? Taking a shot at the Power Pups and blaming them for the hate she was getting because of her poorly worded tweet. And listen, guys, I knew what she was talking about in that tweet. She was talking about Ms. Kiff. I'm not going to deny that. I knew what she was talking about. But I have a problem with a poorly worded tweet where it sets a whole sector of society as evil. You know, I have a problem with that. I would have a problem if she said any large and successful black male content creators. I would still have a fucking problem with that. I'm not black. It's like, you fucking racist against black people or something? Said Muslim, Middle Eastern, Japanese. No, don't make statements like that. Don't. And then her statements about artists. No, read the fucking fine print, bitch. I meant that as a joke, by the way. I don't mean this all say Bao's a bitch. But just read the fucking fine print. Okay. She doubled down on it, even tripled and quadrupled. Yeah, I know. That was a bad fucking move. Because know what's going to happen as a result of that? Those creators won't want won't want to work with her for a while. You know? I'm a large, successful male content creator. Hey, you want to collab with Belt? No. What? Because she's going to look at her post. I mean, I used to, because I think it would be fun. We can have a few laughs and all that stuff. But no, not anymore. Because no, she's going to say I did something horrible. I don't know if she's dumber. All right. I don't know if she's dumb. Okay. I'm not going to say that. What I am saying is, in general, and I don't mean this for all female VTubers, but VTubers in general. Well, let me put it this way. Majority of content creators have a trouble communicating. Any big content creator sliding into your DMs are a red flag, regardless of being a man, woman, elf, dwarf, rock, or robot. You know, I made that post on Twitter. I have reached out to large content creators, see if they would be willing to talk to me for a collab. Yeah, I mean, if I can collab with someone that has like 1 million subs, you think I would like go no? I mean, come on. I'm not stupid, all right? If that means I could get like 5 more subs if I collab with the guy who has 1 million subs, yeah, I'm going to collab with the guy. Or the girl. Don't matter who. If I could get a little bit more recognition on my channel, I'm going to collab with them. Because, no, that's the business side of this. That's the truth. But those I've reached out to, Clackers, you know one of them. And the reason why I don't collab with him is because my content is such a polar opposite of his. I mean, lately I've been doing more what Hema does, what Boss does. I mean, it's pretty much playing games and just rambling while I'm playing games and stuff. He doesn't really talk about drama that much. I mean, he goes into the political sphere, which I really don't do because I don't really give a shit about politics that much. I don't really talk about social issues that much, other than recent tweets. But I mean, I talk about VTubers. I'm 57 years old and talking about VTubers, and I've been called a creep. I have been called a pedophile. I've had been called, hey, you just want to fuck someone at the same age as your daughter. They don't say that, but no, you just want to fuck someone who's younger than you. And I just like, kind of look at him going, God, you're fucking retarded. You just are. You're just fucking retarded. Just because I'm entertained by VTubers and I'm 57 years old, I'm not allowed to be entertained by VTubers? Bitch, I grew up watching anime. And I hate to tell y'all, the anime scene didn't just happened in the 90s. No, Speed Racer was from the 1960s. I got home from elementary school in the 70s and sat down and watched Speed Racer. Dumber? She's not the brightest. She's still young. So these kind of fuck ups aren't anything too out there, but being on the internet makes it it does have a big impact when you're a popular content creator and you post something without fully realizing what you're saying. Okay, you gotta kind of know, you gotta pay attention to what you put in a tweet. You know, if you're a content creator of any size, really, even my size, I kind of pay attention. That's why I mostly post nonsense. You know, other than when I'm going to stream again, I post nonsense. And if I'm going to post something, it's about an issue. It's a fairly long post. And I read it 2 or 3 times. 1, to make sure my grammar's correct. 2, it says what I want it to say. And there's nothing that can be twisted. Or this is what he really meant. No, what I really meant was what I put it in the fucking post. I don't even know the name of the current president of my country. If you ask anybody, it's Trump. He wants to be king of the world. But yeah, if you're going to call yourself or say that you're reporting on the news, you just stick to the facts. You don't, if you want to do an editorial or do an opinion piece, please be honest that you're doing an opinion piece. I mean, that way people can kind of like look at you and go, that's just his opinion. But the problem with a lot of people who do drama, whether it be VTuber or any other sphere, they act like they're telling you facts, but they're actually telling you your opinion, like Tectone does. I agree with that, Clankers. I mean, what Val did was something that she would talk to her girlfriends about. And sometimes, just like the whole Sinder stuff. Shit that shouldn't be public. You know? But what has, because of that tweet of Bow's, it started a discussion about how large, successful female content creators, how some of them are treating men. Like men has a man, they act like a man can't be abused. It's like, are you fucking stupid? Yeah. I agree with that. You know, it's one of the things, it's like you can just, some things are better off left unsaid. And if you have a problem with someone, it's better off you keep it private and work out your problems. It's like if me and Clanker had a problem, I would go to DMs and talk to him about it. You know, I wouldn't drop a Google Doc on Clankers. But that's how men handle things. You know, most men handle it that way. We keep it private, work out our problems, and but come to a decision. Can we still be friends? Can we work together? All that shit. We come with a yes or no answer, and we moved on from there. The worst thing is, Bal can't even talk about this stuff in DMs with her friends because someone might screenshot. Yeah. It's like everybody's afraid of a Google Doc being dropped on them. I was like, go ahead, drop a Google Doc. I need more views. Go ahead, drop a Google Doc on me. I need more views. You know, it's so dumb. And like I said, this stuff here, it's a big nothing burger, people. Yeah, I agree with Sinder. It's time to fucking move on from it. And the only reason I did this is because this was 3 days ago. That's 3 days ago, you know? And the Google Doc dropped back on the 8th, okay? I don't need another Google Doc right now. I don't want one. That's true. Grumps is very mean to me in DMs. He sends gifts rolling his eyes when I send word. Yeah, fucking horse videos. You know, I heard that Mama Oko is planning to do a Cinder thing in September, December. Okay, good. You know, hopefully this could all kind of wrap up type of thing. You know, and just everybody can fucking move on. Pekka Pippin had a puke drawer. Puke drawer or a drawer? She actually throws up in a drawer? You gotta investigate that one a little bit. Yes, they can. People can't be this dumb. Yes, I can. Yes, they can. I just watched a video of a moron. No offense. I'm just being an asshole to be an asshole. I don't know. But yeah, it's... If my heart wasn't made of steel, I've already been shit. Oh, see, like, this is 2 years ago. I mean, let me go to Cinder's VOD channel here. Let's see. Yeah, I heard, she needs... I am subscribed to it. No, okay. I thought, no, I don't, well, I got no, don't have notifications on it. You know, I will say this. Cinder will collab again. I don't expect it to happen within the next 3 to 4 months, to be honest with you. I'd be surprised if it does. She has to get her bearings and get her feet back underneath her and, trudge past all this bullshit. But I wouldn't be surprised that, she does collabs and she, maybe get a whole new group of a friend group, I mean, like some of the names you see here, I wouldn't be surprised you'll see those names again. Okay? I mean, yeah, I know it's goes back to I wouldn't put too much stock in what was said under Nanolist's tweets because that was heat of the moment stuff, which is the worst time to say anything or tweet anything was when you're pissed off. All right. But I wouldn't be surprised you will see some of these names again. All right. And I'm talking like maybe about 4 months from now, I would say. I get or see new names. I mean, why can't Cinder and Saba collab? Other than the fact Saba is so fucking terrified to talk to new people. I'm surprised she's collabed with Lami Licious a couple days ago on Repo, which was funny as hell. and all that. I mean, who says she can't collab with, have a new friend group and do new things? I mean, maybe this is maybe actually an exciting time for her. She doesn't have to be limited to what she did in the past with the friends that she used to have. Now she can do something completely different. She's not pigeonholed into anything anymore. It's like she just debuted again. The whole thing's open for her. She can go in any direction she wants to go to. So, maybe this is actually a very good thing for her. Have you ever heard of the puke drawer? There's a reason she's called. No. Quite frankly, no, I'm not going to talk about that because it brings up bad memories for people who were there for the stream. But it's something I wouldn't do. If I was going to throw up, I'd say, stream's over. I tried to do that. Real quick, Cinder flips the table, collabs with Kinshi, and gets herself turbo. Sorry, sorry about it. It wasn't my time. I just shut down and apologize for it. Still working on myself. It's going to take a long time. Much love. Take care of yourselves out there. And Zen is still going through a rough time. And I won't do a vid. I won't. Anybody who's going through. Anybody who's going through a rough time. I mean, legitimately, a legitimate rough time. And they're talking about harming themselves. I'm not going to cover it. The most I'll do is repost something from, try to get people's attention, to send them love, like Hachima, because Hachima is like one of the reasons why we have VTubing here in the West, because she was popular in the West. I mean, I think most people know this one, and it's been a long time since I listened to it. So maybe we'll just go ahead and listen to it, and so we can appreciate her a little bit, because big. Yeah, there it is.
Good enough for you. Don't you tell me what's my
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that. You know, uh, yeah. If you can, take some time, send her some love. She's going through a very dark period right now. If you haven't heard, if you're not following me on Twitter, then you probably haven't seen me repost it. I'm not gonna sit there and splash it all over the place because I just want to respect her wishes, give her her privacy. But no, just send her a little bit of love to let her know that we actually care about her, because we wouldn't have VTubing in the West really as big as it is without her. She crossed boundaries. Her and Coco crossed boundaries. They broke down walls because they kind of lead the charge at Hololive to bring VTubing to the West. And because they did that, and it was such a perfect storm, it exploded here in the West. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. VTubing really didn't get big until 5 years ago. I know it sounds like a long time, but Saba, uh, it hasn't really been that long. 5 years is not really a long time. I should know. I'm 57 years old. 57 years is a really long fucking time, by the way. So yeah, just send her some love. She's the strongest idol. That's what she wanted to be. She still wants to be an idol, but she's just things happen, and she's always been slightly fragile, especially after what happened to Kiri Coco. She feels she was wrong. She's the reason why Kiri Coco's not worth Hololive anymore. But yeah, I just call survivor's guilt if you want. And in fact, I think there's even sorry. Two ways. I'm not gonna play it. I'm pretty sure it's something. Hachiman Pierce in case on chat. That was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're still friends. That's the thing. They're still friends, and they still talk to each other. Which is good. I mean, so you bet your bottom dollar that Keisan is talking to Hachiman right now, because that's who Keisan is. Sort of like the Zentrea of in that regard, cares about her fellow VTubers and want them to be healthy and happy. So yeah, if you just type in Hachiman Keisan, you can watch these if you want. I fucking hate that video. I wish it doesn't pop up on my feed. No, yeah. I can't fucking block it from here. Never mind. I hate any video that shows people's real face. If VTubers want their face out there, that's their choice. It's not up to us to go looking for them. Yeah, the whole Shiloh real face. I mean, yeah, I can Google it and it would be one of the things that would first appear. But I've never, ever Googled or tried to find what VTubers really look like. Because it's none of my business. If they want their face out there, they would put them out there. I got this one. Huh? What's it? Let's even this. What?
Someone hold me safe and warm. Horses prance through a silver storm. Figures dancing gracefully across my memory. Far away,
Wow.
ago, rolling dim as an
I missed this.
things my heart used to know, things it yearns to remember, and a song someone sings.
Look how she's zooming in.
Once upon a December.
Once again, wow. I'm trying to brand of a crazy 5-star that becomes sort of commonplace in VTube. And heck, we have an entire company built on comedy. But in those days, she was the How Hachiman's legitimately broke ground on a lot of things that are commonplace today. You know, cooking streams. I mean, eating bugs. Going full lewd. Hey, show me. I'm going to review your lewds of me. Feet pics. She did all that. Now she's like one of the first major names that did that. She broke new ground completely. I went to the bathroom. I mean, God, I'm old. I can't hold it in forever. I took my pills, and once I take my pills, I gotta go to the bathroom. That's why make sure I take my pills about an hour and a half before I have to stream. So, oh, there we are. I'm not. I wouldn't use that fucking word. Shows your level of intelligence. As soon as I see someone use that word, I just automatically, nope, you're not intelligent. You have to drop the N word to prove your point, then you have a limited limited vocabulary. You can't say words good. Oh, yeah, hell yeah. The feet thing was her. Yeah. Yeah, Hachiman was the first one to do the feet thing. Everybody thinks it was Gura, but nope, it was Hachima. Let's check out something real fast. I'm curious about something. I'm not gonna. That's no. I know what it is. I've seen it. I'm not interested in showing it on YouTube because I'll probably get my channel taken down. Like I said, a lot of VTubers are, I mean, Vienna, Tricky, and all them are friends with Bao. You know? And you saw what about Numi. But just because they're friends with Bao, that doesn't mean they can't still be friends with Sinder, by the way. I just want to make that clear. You know. The artist's one is gone, or I can't find it. Not that I want to go. Yeah, that's it. I know. I don't have TikTok, so don't look for me on TikTok. Have you limited vocabulary? Okay, you can't say words. Yeah, we'll go with that. If I can't say the words, I won't say. I'll try for a little while, then I'll just fucking give up. But let's give a little love. Give him a retweet. There we go. I'm laughing because how many times I've seen this set to the power bombs. Just funny. I just find it funny. That's all. Okay. Get away from that. Oh, all right. Yeah, I've said everything I wanted to say about that video. I'm not gonna talk about it no more. Probably not gonna do like a react to anybody else's video about it because you know it'll be me saying the same thing. You know, that's all. And it's one of those things that it's sort of like the Bao stuff. How many times am I gonna have to say what I say about Bao? You know, I mean, I'm gonna say the exact same thing every single time. So it's no point of me repeating myself constantly. It's like why I want to get away from the Cinder stuff because I'm saying the exact same thing over and over again. I'm not really saying anything new. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't take part in a discussion about it, but what I'm saying is that as me doing a stream strictly about it it's going to be extremely rare now because what else can I say? I mean, I gave my thoughts on it. I think everybody has fault, and we just need to move on from it, really. And if people won't move on from it, that's their fucking problem. It's not mine. I mean, sort of like get over yourself, you know. What if you're sending me a horse video, Clanker? I'm gonna be so pissed. I'm telling you right now. Please, phase new generator drop one crack roll. Oh, I saw the crack roll. Yeah. I'll be right back. I gotta go do old man stuff. Then I'm gonna play Clanker's clip here. That rhymed. Sort of. Headphones are back on. Okay. Let's see what Clankers has sent me. All right. What, they're gonna start launching drones at each other here or something? Comments are funny. It's a miracle. Okay. All right. I forget about YouTube comments sometimes. But yeah. I wonder if okay, let's see. How to raid someone on YouTube. Tell me. Funny. To raid someone, you use the official live disallows you to make send your future. I can't do it. All right, I don't have over 100 over 1,000 subscribers, so I can't send you to somebody else. Because I would send you to him, you know, or her. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's a her. Who's live right now? Godzilla. Yeah, once again, I don't like the Lord of the Rings. Mostly because of the fans. It's like, huh? Yeah. Most of the fans, you just take it a little bit too. I mean, I grew up as a Star Wars fan, and we didn't go as far as the Lord of the Rings fans got. I know. Just I don't get it. I mean, and I do get it. It's just like, come on. All right. I will say this. I am going to wrap things up. I was thinking about going to play Minecraft because I knew I wasn't going to watch a 5-hour video. I was like, dude, I'm not going. So it would actually, it would depend if he was going to do a fair take on it. But as soon as he skipped the reorganized things to suit his needs, I was like, huh? I'm a big Godzilla fan, by the way. Oh, better not play that then. Let me just turn it on, pause that. That's gonna sound creepy. No, that's not gonna be right. Here we go. I'm just like getting like I gotta be like I said, I gotta be careful what I say. Let me. Add her. Why not? She likes it. You could. No, I'm not gonna watch a 15-minute video. I'm not for. I'm getting kind of tired. I usually try to get in bed before 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah. Let's see if I can get traction on that video, by the way. Cool. But yeah, one. I know I should start doing this at the beginning of the video, but I'll learn. If you have enjoyed this so far, and if you like my channel, one, tell everybody about it so I can get more subscribers. Two, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. Tomorrow, if we look at my schedule, which I'll bring up right here, that I got posted on my X. And if we go to my thumbnail, a start screen, which is not there. I didn't put the updated one in here. Hold on. Okay. My updated one, you will see. No, I got my handle, my X/Twitter handle down there in the left corner. I don't know why I didn't update it. I don't know. Okay, and if you go there, you see my weekly schedule. Tomorrow, we're going to be probably an afternoon stream because in the morning, I got to go dry my clothes because someone broke the fucking dryer. Afternoon stream probably be we'll be playing hardcore Minecraft, and tomorrow night stream we'll be playing Cyberpunk, and then we're gonna go Tuesday with Mass Effect, and this is all subject to change, by the way. And Wednesday we'll start Phase Connect month on VTuber highlights with Tebna. And of course, Thursday will be the Feel Good Scream. So, VTuber highlights will be 10 of Phase Connect. So, Phase Connect November has begun. So, and I will be taking requests for December. I got one from Megalodon, which will be the first one in December. But if there's other requests of indie VTubers you want me to look at or promote, help get their name out there, as small as I am, I'll be more than happy to do a VTuber highlight for him. Okay. Or you could just leave it to my devices because apparently everybody loves what I pick. How did Junior manage that? What? What? I mean the thumbnail or this? My schedule? You know? It's kind of bright too. I thought it was all black. But hey, I'm fine with that. I mean, it's easy to see, easy to read. But yeah. Once again, thank you for being here. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Mujin, whatever your name is. No offense. I just totally 100% disagree on your video. I will see you tomorrow afternoon, probably, for Hardcore Minecraft after I get my clothes dry and fold them and put them up and take a shower and all that stuff. And me breaking I don't know. I try to dry my clothes and the dryer won't turn on. It's got me on that one. It's like, well, thank you for telling me. Big fucking help. But yeah, I will see you tomorrow for Hardcore Minecraft in the afternoon and Cyberpunk in the evening. I may just merge them all into one, just like play Hardcore Minecraft, then go switch over to Cyberpunk. But that's for tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Thanks again. And don't forget to tell people about my channel so I can get to 200 by the end of the year. All right, I'll talk to you then.